Uh, she's been here for a little bit, but she is kind of new. I'm glad to have her around too. I think she's wanting to start a
It's been
ladies'
about.
night Discord server, but she's not sure. So you ladies give her your opinion about that.
I'm not new, but I did change my name. So I've been in the Discord for almost 2 years, I think.
Well, what was your name before? Like, how come I didn't recognize your voice?
Light Energy.
Still don't remember you, man.
Yeah, it's been about probably 6 months since I've been in. I took a little sabbatical to work on a project.
Wait a minute. Yeah, okay. Light energy. Yeah, kind of. I think I do vaguely, but anyway, it's good to have you around. Stick around this time.
Thanks. Okay. My project is done right now. I was writing a book and it's the audio is being worked on right now. So cool.
Cool. So Kai, do you want to do the intro? I mean, we're kind of doing it, but do you want to do the formal intro?
Sure, I don't really know what formally to say other than welcome to Ladies' Night.
Yeah, just giving a brief description for those who are listening that knows what it's about. That way they can figure out if they want to join or not.
Okay, sure.
It's got to be a freestyle rap.
Oh shit! Okay, now ladies.
Operators are standing by and VC check-in for newbies.
Oh, perfect. Yes, send them in. Well, welcome. It is Flat Earth Ladies Night on the 24/7 Flat Earth Discord 2.0. It is Friday the 2nd. In America, it is 4th of July weekend, so hopefully everyone is having a great weekend. This is the time for the ladies to shine and flat smack the globe. So do we have any Globers in the building? If not, all the ladies can introduce themselves really quick and just say, hey.
Yeah, Zodiac was sure to run through them all as quick as he could before Ladies' Night. He wanted to get one more in at that last one.
I can't help you. I can't talk because I'm not a lady. Sorry.
Well,
Some would disagree.
Okay, well, do all the ladies want to just quickly say, hey, how they're doing? What are their plans for the weekend?
This is Deborah. I am just chilling this weekend. No plans. Happy to be here. That's it.
Mine's easy, short and sweet. I'm going fishing, so.
Ooh, what kind of fishing?
Whichever kind of fish are biting. I'm probably going to do both. There's a pond that have some pretty large bass in it. I'm probably going to go bass fishing there, and then at night I'm going to go do some catfishing, and then I'm just going to play around and enjoy it.
Nice. I'm going to go to a bar this weekend, and I'm going to do fishing, but different kind of fishing. Just kidding. What about you, John?
I love fishing, and I haven't been in years. We just went and got our fishing license, and my husband got a VW bus. So we're planning on going camping this summer, but this weekend we're just chilling and hanging with the family and staying away from the.
Nice. Any other lady in here? I don't want to miss anybody. Okay, I thought I saw. Oh wow. Okay, go to the bottom. I see Wayne. 34565 is in the building. Hello, Wayne. Oh, I don't know if he can unmute himself because he's not VC'd.
Yup.
What? Was that him? Did you just talk? I don't know if he just talked. Okay, since you're not talking. Stebert, he just has a listening pass, though.
Are you talking to me?
Wait, who was that? Who just talked?
Aloela.
Wait, sorry, say your name one more time?
Aloela.
Aloela. Welcome.
Thanks. I'm just here to listen.
Oh, you don't want to talk to us?
No,
Night.
I just want to listen.
Oh, okay. Well, we don't bite. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask.
Thank you.
This is my first ladies' night.
Mine too.
Are you new to the server, Deborah? I haven't seen you before, but you're flat earther.
Well, yeah, but I haven't been around for a while.
Well, welcome. It was fun chatting with you earlier against those guys who were super passionate about the Bible. That was really fun chatting with another lady.
You were listening then, huh? That was fun.
Yes. Okay, let's see.
I had to go because I had just pulled into the house, so I cut it short. But it was a fun little chat.
Okay, I feel like we have lots of Globers in here now, or just new people. Okay, we have Dazok. Daza OC. Hello, Daza.
What's up?
What brings you to 24/7 Flat Earth Ladies Night?
My pronouns are steering wheel and bottle of juice, so I feel like
Do what?
What?
It sounded like he said my pronouns are still laying in pollen juice.
That's what I heard too. Okay, well, you can mute yourself then.
Do we have to be females in it? Do we have to be females?
No, not if you're new.
Oh, okay.
Wait, who's talking? Say, what's your name?
Andy, I think.
Andy. Hi,
Yeah.
Andy. What brings you to the
Hi.
server?
I don't know. Just here to listen, enjoy life.
You just decided you woke up on a Friday and were like, I'm gonna
Yeah, man. Just had a few
learn about
points of
flat
Guinness.
Earth.
Few points of Guinness, and yeah, fucked off my mind, and I'm here.
Oh wow. Well, what do you think the shape of the Earth is?
how are you, Andy?
All right, that's a. I think I really don't know. I came here to learn more about it because I've always felt like I've been lied to. So yeah,
You got some trust issues?
exactly.
Ah, dang. I can relate. Well, as much as you want to learn, the best thing to do is actually kind of learn about the heliocentric model, because the more you learn about that, the more you realize that the Earth is flat. So we can ask you the 3 questions to kind of kick things off and see how much you know about the globe, because I'm assuming you're still a Glober. So does
Okay.
one of the ladies want to ask him the 3 questions to see where he's at?
Oh well, that's awkward.
Well, I mean, it's like I'm not gonna. I want to give the other ladies who may want to, a chance to. So we're gonna give them a chance to. If they don't jump in, Kyle, we can do it.
Okay, if they don't want to ask the 3 questions, or if they don't know how it goes, does one of the ladies want to just kind of pick Andy's brain on maybe his proofs for the globe?
I'll go ahead and ask.
Okay.
So, do you know anything about the second law of thermodynamics?
What? No.
Okay, so this was something that surely should have been taught in every school, in a cursory understanding. It should have been explained in science classes across the world. But the second law of thermodynamics basically, and I'll just stick to one specific subject of it, gas pressure. How do you have gas pressure?
You're talking to a clapper. This Andy kid hasn't.
They're misleading you.
What he's talking about.
Yeah,
No, I'm just.
I really don't know what you boys are talking about.
Interrupting, they will be muted. So, male mods, just mute whoever is interrupting. Thanks.
No, that day, Zayaklad. I know him. It's alright. He can slag me.
I don't care. I don't care.
Not really. Andy, just be quiet, mate.
Alright, Crackville. Simp. Anyway, no, I don't know how the gas yoke works.
Okay, so in order to have gas pressure, you have to have a container. If you were to take the 2-story building and you put a cork between the 2 stories and they're sealed completely, and you drain all of the atmosphere, the oxygen or whatever gases are in one floor, and you completely drain that specific floor of all gases, and you remove that cork, what's going to happen?
All the gas. Guys, I'm sorry. I had too many drinks. I can't.
You're going to have an equalization of that pressure between the 2 stories. You're going to have it will equalize itself between the 2 stories. Initially, it'll be violent, but you're going to have that happen. So how do you have a vacuum of space next to oxygen and gases that are existing on our plane? How does that happen?
Oh, now it makes a bit more sense.
Okay. So
Oh.
you cannot have a vacuum of space right next to all of our atmosphere that's here. And I hate using the word atmosphere, but I use it colloquially. So you can't have oxygen and all the gases here next to a vacuum of space. It doesn't make sense, does it?
Yeah, it makes sense.
So I'll turn it over to another lady here who wants to ask other questions, but that one should give you a lot to think about.
Yeah.
My question is, you said you were drinking some beers, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that beer is flat and level in its cup. When you tilt the beer to drink it, you'll notice that the water stays level. Like it moves with the cup, but as you're tipping it, it's still remaining level. It doesn't curve up on the side of the cup. Okay, that water has a property, and it always seeks its level. That's why it's called sea level. This can be demonstrated over and over again that water is level. Now, they tell us that the ball is 70% water. Okay? So that would infer that most of the water is covering the ball and that most of the water has to curve. Here's the kicker. Water doesn't curve. It doesn't curve. It always seeks its level. You can see this. Your beers that you're drinking are a great little hat tip to the fact that they're lying. And they have stories about how things work. And the stories are great until you realize that the reality doesn't match up. And it's like Deborah was saying about gas pressure, or the property of water, or the fact that there's no measurement of axial rotation, no measurement of observed Earth curvature, which should have a drop rate of 8 inches per mile squared, which doesn't seem like a lot. But over 10 feet, I believe it's 60-mile drop, 100 feet, 1,666 feet drop. We should be able to detect this over flat and level water, especially over frozen flat and level water. But yet, we don't. We see too far, or if we do laser tests, the laser will hit the target. The laser shouldn't be able to hit the target if there's a 1,000-foot drop. But lasers don't curve, and water doesn't either, and neither does the Earth.
I'm actually gonna check that out next time I have a beer.
Interesting. Hold on. Let me.
There's one more kicker to a specific tip to the truth in the word astronaut. Astronaut contains a part of the word nautical.
Hang on, Crackville in your hot mic.
I don't believe I am.
Is that you? You were lighting up, but here's some background noise coming from someone.
It's not me.
Yeah,
I can
that's
assure
probably
you, I
me.
was on local mute.
But the word astronaut contains the word not, which is a nautical word. It refers to water. So I'm not quite sure how an astronaut would not be containing properties of water if it was supposed to be going up in space.
Or maybe they talk about like astrology, not it's like not thing. Could that be a thing
It
as well?
ends with NAUT. It's actually tipping. They always put things in plain sight when they're trying to deceive people. And the people in the know, if they understand the etymology of specific words, you're going to find that truth is right in plain sight.
Yes.
Do you have any proof that you live on a spinning ball?
Me? No.
Okay.
I'd love to
Cool.
be in space if it's real, but yeah.
Well, as Deborah explained, you can't go there because it doesn't exist. Not in the way that you think it exists. Not in this cartoon spinning. Like there's spinning balls and asteroids and aliens and things like that. That whole realm that you see on TV. Which, by the way, you try to watch any space documentary, it's all CGI. Like obviously, CGI. Unless you're a boomer, you might not be able to tell. But you're young enough, you'll be able to tell it's CGI. And yeah, they can't show you any videos, any real videos. It's like she said with the gas pressure. So helium rises, right?
Yeah.
Okay, well, we have helium within the atmosphere. So let's say we pop a balloon full of helium, and that helium gas is going to rise. Well, why does it stop? Why does it stop at the edge of the atmosphere? Why doesn't it continue to go into outer space? Why doesn't all the air here continue to rise up and go into outer space? Because we know that gas expands in all directions. You can prove that by smoking a cigarette. It goes in all directions. So why does it stop? How are we still breathing here? How is there any air left here for trees to grow, to produce more oxygen? Why doesn't it just keep going up and fill the available space?
Oh. I don't know.
Okay. Maybe we should talk to somebody else. Seem a little out of it. So
Yeah, I'm very.
no worries, honey. Just mute yourself. It's okay.
Yeah.
Cheers. All right, let's go in alphabetical order. Let's see. Who is after Andy?
Cody Cakes is sitting in here without a row. If you wanna participate, you can hop up into the VC check-in and someone will hook you up with a row.
See, Flanny has VC verified. Hi, Flanny.
Hey, what's up?
Not much. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
What brings you to the server today?
Well, it's ladies' night, innit? I'm just listening in to the conversations.
Do you think the Earth is a spinning ball?
No, I don't know what it is.
You're on the fence,
Yeah,
undecided.
I'm not fairly new, so
Well, what makes you think it could possibly not be a spinning ball?
because I've never saw anything like I've never seen curvature.
Okay. Anything else?
Not really. Sorry, I'm not really good. You put me on the spot here.
It's okay. You don't have to talk, but
Okay, well, I want to add something about that. It's
Yeah.
so you know that the Earth is flat because you've never seen curvature, but couldn't the Earth just be way bigger?
I mean, I've been on like planes myself and like pretty high up, and I've never seen curvature.
Fair enough. Have you done any other observations, like to try to see if maybe you're just missing it, that maybe it could perhaps be there?
No, I'm not. No, I'm not sure of like any other ways I could test it. I don't know.
All right, cool. Go ahead, Kai. I just wanted to pry a little bit.
oh no. It's good. Well, there is a way to test it, and like I was telling Andy before, what we would want to know okay, so we have this predicament, right? We don't know if the Earth is curved or flat. And as you said, and as all of us agree, unless you're a delusional person, we don't see any curvature. But does that actually mean the Earth is not curved? Well, we don't know, so we have to test it. So the best place to test it is over water. Water is flat. It always seeks its level. It would be pretty silly to try to test it over land because there's hills and valleys and bumpiness, all kinds of things. So we would test it over water. And what happens when we test it over water? We don't find any curvature. Also, there's something called the black swan, if one of the ladies wants to break that down for our guest and the others listening. And that also shows that the horizon is not where it should be, because they tell us that when you look in the horizon, that is a hump of earth curve, that boats will disappear behind this hump of earth curve. Well, here's the problem. You're considered the shore with your significant other, romantic picnic on the beach. You can watch boats disappear into the sunset. Then you pull out your camera and you zoom in and you can see the boat again. So is the boat actually disappearing behind the hump of this earth curve, or is it just leaving your field of vision? So does one of the ladies want to break down the black swan for our guest?
Well, if no one else wants to, I mean, it's pretty. If you click on that and read it, it's pretty self-explanatory, right? If P, the modus tollens. If P, then Q. If not Q, therefore not P. And the logic behind the black swan is if you've been told all of your life and you've only known of white swans ever existing, and that's the argument that all swans are white, all it takes is one single black swan to disprove that argument. So someone can come along and say, yeah, but look at this white swan and look at this white swan. It doesn't matter because you have already seen one black swan, right? So if you see one black swan, then that disproves the argument that all swans are white. So that's the logic behind this argument, because if you ever see the Earth extend beyond, if you ever see the horizon extend beyond where the predicted geometric horizon should be, then that falsifies the radius. It falsifies where they claim the radius is, what they claim the radius is. So if the Earth is a sphere with a radius of 3,959 miles, which is P, then every horizon distance measurement must be no more than, it can be shorter, but it can never be any more than 1.225 times square root of the observer's height in feet, Q. So when you click on that photo of with the horizon, and where the horizon and the distance markers, which are the oil swans. If you click on that, look at it, and then tell me where you see the horizon at. Are you looking at the?
It's posted at 2:22 p.m. If you can't find it.
I'll repost it. I don't know what the hell's wrong with my it's like I'm stuttering a lot for some reason lately. I don't know what the hell's that's about. But anyway, just click on that and tell me where you see the horizon at. And do you understand the logic behind the argument? First, let me ask you that. Who are we talking to?
Flanny.
Flanny.
I'm sorry. I'm trying to find it.
Well, I just reposted it, man. It's right
Here,
there.
wait. Should we tag him in it? Let me tag him.
Live
It's in the
stream voice text, please.
Wait,
Yeah.
does he even have a row? Yeah. Should be
He's
able to see.
busy. How do I tag you?
I got him.
Oh, perfect. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, I'll post it one last time, just so that just below where I tagged you at.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay, so do you understand the argument first?
Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
Okay. So where do you see the horizon at?
Just below the oil rigs.
Just below. What
Yeah,
do you mean below?
Where the sky and the ocean meet.
Yeah. So you see the sky and the ocean appear to meet where? Where'd you say you saw it?
Oh, I think he left.
Yeah, we can go into someone else. It's like
Oh my
I felt like I was
gosh.
pulling teeth just trying to get him to talk.
That was brutal.
Hi, Bambi.
Hey.
Happy Friday or Saturday, where I don't know what time it is yet for you.
It's Friday. I'm only at 10:27, so a few more hours.
But you can make it now. All we need is for Lou to just make a surprise appearance and Dandelion to show up and
We got this.
yeah.
Hi guys.
Hello,
Hey.
Dandelion.
Let's see. Do we have any new? There's the Glober, the Flying Scotsman.
Hello.
If Scottish, I'll be disappointed. Are you Scottish?
My grandparents it's my granddad's nickname, Flying Scotsman. But
That's not good enough, but I'll let you slide. So you're Glober?
yeah, I'm a Glober, but I accept the fact that I just believe what I was taught in school. I've never verified anything myself, and I accept it's possible the government, NASA, could be lying about stuff.
Oh, okay. Well, do you mind if I ask you a simple question?
Yeah.
Is there anything that you or I could go do to prove what we're living on?
Yeah, I'm interested in the sunsets. Like, because like I've seen like the classic flat Earth models where they show the sun always stays above the disk and keeps rotating. But I've heard many other flat Earthers say they disagree with that. So, but in my mind.
Yeah, that's not really what I'm asking, though. So something to prove what the shape of the Earth is, like the sun and the sunrise is like a separate, pointing to the sky. Is there anything that you or I can do to figure out what we're living on by maybe doing a measurement, an observation, something?
Like with equipment or just my eye?
Let's say with equipment. What have you got?
Well, I can't think of anything other. Well, I guess the laser test. But yeah, I've never done that or anything. I do have a laser.
Mm-hmm. So, but what about for us living on a massive sphere? Is there anything we can do to prove that? Anything that you or I can do?
Well, I guess if the Earth is a globe, it'd still be too big. It'd still look flat if we really were, unless they're like telescope or something.
Yeah, but is there anything that you or I could do to prove that we're living on a sphere?
I don't think so.
Oh, okay. Do you not think that there would be like a
Or-
measurement that we could do? Because they give us like a radius and a circumference. Is there not like a measurement? How did they get that? And how could we do it ourselves?
I watched a flat Earth debate the other day. They talked the surveyor Glober saying they do the plumb lines and optical stuff to
Mhm.
measure the
With-
curvature.
With plumb lines and optics?
Yeah, or whatever modern equipment they have. I think
What
I
is it they did?
understand the principle what they describe, but yeah.
What is it they did? Sorry. Go on, Truth. What were you going to say?
Oh, I was just going to say, from what see, I'm not a surveyor, but we have surveyors in here, and anytime that I have like people, and we, even if they're not surveyors, they use surveying equipment, like Batamod and Indios talked about the surveying equipment, and I've heard other actual surveyors, talk about it too. And from what I understand, they use planar like they use planar measurements, and then they add the calculations to make it.
Well, the surveyor in the debate said he doesn't, that you can find the measurements without presupposing that it's already a ball or something. That's what he said. It was the wits it gets at debating the other guy. Oh,
Yeah,
YouTube video.
it's got it pretty good. I mean, he breaks it down pretty good, maybe. But anyway,
Yeah.
I don't want to get too deep into the
Yeah.
surveying or whatever. So,
And I did
because-
agree with Witset's point that the surveyor's using optics, so how can he know that refraction isn't changing stuff? If there's always refraction, no matter how many times you do the experiment, how do you know what's perfectly accurate or something? I agreed with that point. I had a question for you. You're the one that mentioned the a beer in a glass, and you can tilt the glass, but like the water always remains level. Yeah. Was that you? Yeah. Yeah. And she said like the water molecules or something always find their level. Were you implying the water itself causes it to find its level, or an external force is causing the water to remain level?
Truth, are you here?
Yeah,
Oh,
I didn't know
sorry.
he was asking me.
Sorry.
Yeah, because I'm not the one that mentioned that, so I thought he was talking.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I
I mean,
forget.
it's cool.
Yeah.
I mean, look, I can still explain it to you because I mean we have, just everything finds its place of equilibrium, and when water is left undisturbed, it will seek its level. We know that that's how water behaves. That's all we ever observe it doing. So knowing that more than 70% allegedly, right? Because I've not seen the entire Earth, but they tell us that more than 70% of the Earth is covered with water. Knowing that, then, and knowing how water behaves, it would like it would have to be
Yeah.
flat.
Yeah. So my question. Yeah. So my question is it? Are you saying you think it's an external force causing the water to behave like that, or the water molecules itself?
Well, I mean, I don't really think any. It's not like I'm not going to make up a story, right? It's just I know this is what I will tell you. This is what I do know. What they claim goes on, like gravity, what they call gravity, has never been validated, never been verified, right? So, and you can look for it. It's all just it's not even a theory, right? Because there's no experiment to give it any validity at all. So they say that it's the cause, but they also say that it's the effect. So they just put a name on it so that you are not looking into the other elements the other variables that are in play. So there's different things, there's different variables that have been tested, that's already been tested, that have shown to determine and actually change where an object will find its equilibrium. You can manipulate the medium, you can manipulate the electromagnetic nature of the medium or of the object. You can manipulate the electrostatics. All of those things do change, but none of them are gravity. So it's just within the energies of the earth and how the creator formed the earth. There are these energies that are within nature that cause cause everything to find its place of equilibrium at the at the earth, at the level of the earth. Now if it's less dense, then it's going to find its equilibrium higher up, and the more dense it is, it's going to find its equilibrium at the earth, because the earth is the ground. That's why it's called it's the ground, right? And it's the dielectric inertial plane. It's the center of this creation that we live within. So as far as that goes, now we can and I'm sure there's other variables that have not been identified or tested, but I will tell you that gravity, what they tell you gravity to be, is not one of them.
Yeah. I think I get what you mean. Yeah.
So does that help you?
Kind of. Yeah. Okay. So here's a video done by the BBC, and now I've seen the PBS do the fake stuff, so I'm skeptical. But okay, so dropping stuff in a vacuum. Do you believe those videos are real and they're not faking them? Like,
do you know? Do we have any? Is that indicative of nature? I mean, it's because that's a man-made situation for one, and it's not. It's not an experiment. It's not any way to prove a cause, because you don't find vacuums in nature.
Yeah.
Nature abhors a
So
vacuum.
what is being manipulated in that?
There's the medium. They've removed air.
Then it's not gravity. They're not establishing that gravity is the cause of anything, because they're manipulating the medium, right? Just like the one that I posted, they're also manipulating the medium. So you need to find something where they're actually manipulating gravity if you're going to establish that gravity is the cause of gravity.
Well, they're also showing a container there in that video.
Yeah, there's that too.
Yeah, but if they're telling the truth, then it's a vacuum. The container doesn't matter. It would be the equivalent of it being in the middle of space, if that's all real,
Because
like we've been told.
That vacuum is containment, and nature abhors a vacuum. So what's containing the vacuum of space? Are you saying that there's a container that's containing?
I mean, their vacuum, the chamber they use isn't a perfect vacuum, but they've taken almost all the air out, but it's not perfectly.
No, I get that. I think that you're just missing the point that it's a chamber. It's an enclosed system that they've sucked all of this air out of. Now they're claiming that there is space, that there is no containment, but yet we have burning balls of gas within a vacuum. None of it correlates.
It's also, just for clarification, the vacuum in a chamber on a small scale versus.
Ladies' night.
I know it is. I just want to clarify something though.
Yeah, I don't think I will ask if you want you to clarify.
Well, space versus a small chamber is different.
Rags, we don't need you. I'm sorry.
Sorry, Cracky.
Rag, I'm very sorry I muted you, but it is ladies' night. If we want a hand explaining something, we will ask you. Thank you. Go on, Kay. Were you finished?
Oh no, I wasn't talking. I think it was Truth or.
Oh, sorry.
I don't know who it was.
I think it was Deborah that stepped in after I'd said that. Did you have anything else to add, Deborah, or did Flanny have a response to what Deborah said?
Well, I was just saying that that's a container, and if you're going to use a container to prove a vacuum, then you're just proving our point that you can't have a vacuum without a container.
I kind of see what you mean. Or in my mind, they're just because they're in air on Earth, they have to use a container to mimic a vacuum.
You have to have air pressure in our environment to have any kind of oxygen and air pressure. So having an experiment that is trying to explain the vacuum of space using a container only proves our point.
Well, in my mind, in my opinion, the container doesn't affect that experiment because the vacuum inside it shouldn't be affected that it's in a container if they've got it in a proper vacuum. But that's just.
So how do you have the vacuum of space without a container?
I mean,
And
that's
what's
a good
more
question.
technical-
Gravity.
and really
In my opinion, like the whole universe is just massive, and it's infinitely nothing forever. But then there's planets and balls of gas and suns within. So space itself, in my mind, is a complete vacuum of nothing, and then we have
Okay, but
planets.
that violates the second law of thermodynamics in that
Yeah,
all of the
I do
the
believe in
gases.
creation. I do believe that our Earth came from something other than the Big Bang. And even if the Big Bang's true, then what caused the Big Bang? Like, yeah, in my opinion, there.
Do you understand that the contradictory of that right there? That, okay, so there's the vacuum of space, but all these things in it, then it's no longer a vacuum.
Well, I mean, a massive area of vacuum with pockets of matter and gases lumped together.
You ever heard the phrase, nature abhors vacuum?
Nature, what vacuum?
Abhors a vacuum.
Well, I mean, hypothetically, if you had a massive
Not
space-
hypothetically.
Yeah.
This is a statement that's
By who?
nature of science studied. Where do you find a natural vacuum anywhere here on Earth?
We probably don't.
That's why it's called nature abhors a vacuum. You can't find. You have to create it. That's
You
why
can
we build a
create vacuums
That's why we build a container. See, I don't really keep saying your opinion. Well, your opinion doesn't match reality. Known law.
A propeller
the
going
problem.
through the water creates a vacuum. That's what the bubbles are on boats.
Oh, really?
Actually, wait, I could be wrong. It might be the oxygen coming out of the water.
In nature, I think there's
Because they
a
get
shrimp
together.
called the pistol
Nature.
shrimp, and
Abhors vacuum.
there's a
It's created by
pistol.
something with a container. Once again, you guys are both talking containers or man.
Yeah, but it's underwater. It's not.
Are you interrupting?
Who?
You. Who are you?
No, interrupting who?
Who are you? Is this
Joe.
talking one person?
It's mild cheddar, who's also named not so sharp cheddar. So keep that in mind.
Oh, I know who Cheddar is.
Just have some manners, cheddar. Let her finish.
You're interrupting a conversation you weren't invited into yet. You still had a man-made thing to get these vacuums you're both talking about, or a creature that made its own vacuum. You want to claim that there's a vacuum. You still have a container, though.
You're cutting in and out a little
The
bit.
water.
But I think you go. I think you could hear it. Go ahead.
So again, you keep saying your opinion, but you're violating the natural law. So you got to either decide that you're just going to have a belief system based on your opinion, or you're going to actually start to look into the natural things that are consistent that we have never been able to violate and figure this out.
So what's not natural about it?
Cheddar, were you invited into the conversation?
I'm happy for someone else to speak. I don't have any more.
Yeah,
keep
but I was
speaking
talking
if
to
no one else
you.
replies.
I was talking to
Thank
you because you were the one that we
I
were
mean,
talking
yeah, I
about.
can't really think of a response to your question. It's a good question. I mean, in my mind,
That's why I ask it, because
Yeah.
you keep saying opinion. You've mentioned opinion I don't know how many times. We don't base our decisions on opinion usually in this forum, because that's the problem. It's a belief. It's your
Well, I
opinion. You
mean-
don't have fact.
What's not a fact about the pistol shrimp?
Again, Cheddar.
It's my opinion that you guys are fools.
okay,
Yeah, you
in
know,
my
I could have an opinion.
in my opinion, your statement that nature abhors vacuum, I believe that can be true on Earth. But if Earth is still a ball in the vacuum of space,
If how?
I don't
If
see how.
how? See, that's the problem. You're violating the law.
Okay, have you seen
How?
the?
I've seen everything.
I'll see if I've got a better video. So there's one of Veritasium in a 0G plane playing with blobs of water, and when the water's by itself, it forms a sphere. But I think the water
Can
did
he
was
form a
spinning.
sphere the size
gotta
of a
find a better
car?
video.
Can you form a sphere the size of a car? Here,
I believe if water was left in a vacuum in zero gravity by itself with nothing disturbing it, it would eventually settle into a ball.
you don't.
Nothing else.
Those
But you're
tension
right, I
forces.
haven't looked at proper experiments. I could be wrong. Yeah, I saw a ball once in one of the zero G video. I got to find a better video to back that
But
up.
how small was that ball? See that we're talking scale now. What does water do
Very
normally?
Small, as small as
What
a teaspoon.
does water do normally in large body?
Yes, but I believe that's my
Does it make
opinion
a
is that's
sphere?
because of gravity.
Your opinion again.
Okay, my opinion is okay. So water finds its level, but so does every other object. You can hold a physical object right now, let go, they all go down. Is that each molecule in all those individual objects deciding they want to go, or the fact they all have that in common is something else causing all of them
Do
to go
they
down?
all go down? Does everything go down?
Yeah, because helium balloons, they're going up because the air above them is being pulled down by gravity, and the helium balloon is less dense.
And
That's
so
what
it's
I've been
not
told.
pulled down by gravity. It's selective.
No, the air around it, just like if you have a life jacket underwater, you'll float up, not because something is pulling you up, because the water is heavier than your life jacket. So it's going down around you, and you're being forced up by the pressure of the water all around you. Yeah,
But
density.
density and buoyancy and equilibrium we're talking about. We're not talking about, again, you're going all over the place, making examples of different things, but we're still talking about air pressure, containers, violation of physical law.
Can I just chime in for 2 seconds? So he mentioned these balls of water that were being created in zero G, right?
Yeah.
But where were those balls of water? Were they not
It was
inside?
in air. Yeah, it was in air.
Okay, but were they not inside of a contained machine?
Yeah, in the airplane, which is in
pressure.
the atmosphere.
Right.
Pressure.
Right.
But the water was free to go in any shape. The air didn't force it into a ball.
What was the
But it
scale?
was still inside.
Fine, it was like a teaspoon size
inside
of water.
of
Yeah.
that specific container.
Okay, what if the airplane had the same pressure as the air outside? Would the airplane then not be like a container? It just happens to be a wall, but the pressure wouldn't be different.
You're missing it. You're missing
Yeah.
it. That specific.
You're not logical.
If that water was out in the middle of nowhere, right? If it was specifically in a vacuum of space, it wouldn't keep the same shape. And if it was within our specific atmosphere or our what we breathe around us, it would fall because it was more dense than the air around it. But you're seeing those bubbles of water inside the machine that's up in a zero G atmosphere.
No, it's in a
Yeah,
fall.
you get it.
It's in a created fall.
Yeah, so
Give you a
Yes,
sense.
we know
Describe
that,
it.
but I'm trying to explain it to a baller, so it's a little bit more challenging to try to explain it using their language.
Kidding. Especially when it's based on opinion.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to add a little bit more perspective. It's inside their chip, whatever you want to call it.
I think this guy's going to have a hard time really in these kind of discussions because he's just talking about his opinions and his belief.
Yeah.
I don't want to make you feel bad, but when you're having an intellectual debate, those words are really not what you should be using in your toolkit.
Yeah, I mean, well,
you need to
I
go
can
back.
only-
It sounds
yeah.
to me like you just have a religious belief, which I don't really care
Yeah,
about.
pretty-
People who
well,
have,
yeah, I accept.
I don't care about people
Yeah.
who have religious beliefs, right? There was a group of religious zealots that drank poisonous Kool-Aid and killed themselves. You know, people that have beliefs do all kinds of sort of things. If you're going to come in here and claim that you know the Earth is a globe, though, you're going to have to do a lot better than saying you believe in stuff. So I would probably read up and come back with some better evidence. You don't have to be a flat earther, but you need to bring better evidence so you can be more prepared next time. Yep.
Cool. Yeah, so basically, like everything I've ever been taught, I've never seen anything that contradicts in my mind, except those laser experiments you've shown me on Lake. So I'll look into them more, and I'll see how the globers address it, and see what the other.
Did you ever consider? Oh, go ahead.
If I may, I would challenge you to look at how a submarine periscope would work on a globe Earth.
Okay, yeah, I'll look into that.
I'm trying to figure out, if you are here to get past a belief system, or if you are wanting to just, have a belief system, because it sounds like you need to go to a religion.
Yeah, I just want to try and objectively look at evidence from the flat Earth point of view, and then decide.
Which is great.
Arguments,
and it's sure, and that's great. It's just interesting that you're coming here when you know that we want hard, solid, empirical measurements, things like that are not beliefs and opinions. We don't do that, and so it's going to be very difficult.
Repeatable, verifiable evidence.
Right, and it sounds like you have an opinion of the world that was given to you, child, and that you've held on to it, but you said yourself, well, everything around me tells me it's a globe. Yeah. What tells you around you that's a globe? What does that? Do you walk out your front door and see evidence of globe?
Yeah, in my mind, that doesn't contradict if it really was a globe.
I'm asking what you see. I didn't ask what was in your head. I asked what you actually experience and see.
Yeah,
not what you think.
Flat. Yeah.
Because we got off on all these hypotheticals because you were asking about the water seeking its level, and you were trying to get into what the cause was. So I mean, regardless of what you think the cause is, it's it doesn't change the fact. And surely you admit that water does seek its level, and more than 70% of the Earth is covered with water. So therefore, minimum of more than 70% of the Earth is flat and stationary. Well,
have you ever?
I mean, in my mind, the water doesn't. Yeah, because if the Earth is moving at a constant speed and not accelerating, then the world will be fine. It doesn't matter if we're moving thousands of miles an hour. Yeah, if you're on a train, it's fine.
Do you experience that?
Yeah.
Again, I'm asking you from the basis of what you actually know. Yeah.
Yeah, but when I'm on an airplane at 600 miles an hour, that feels pretty smooth when there's no turbulence.
Oh, really? You can tell exactly when they're going in for a landing, can't you?
Yeah, because
it'll wake you up.
Decelerating.
I'm sorry.
Well, no, even when they drop elevation.
Yeah, because
does the Earth act like an airplane though? Do we just excel forwards? Is that all we're doing? Are we just excelling forward? Because planes move in linear motion. Is that all the Earth's doing?
Yeah, but once they read cruising speed, they're not accelerating, decelerating. They're at a constant
But they're just moving at linear motion, aren't they?
Do you mean
is that what Earth is doing? Yeah, it's linear motion. Is that what Earth's doing?
According to globe theory, it's an orbit around the sun, and then the sun is going through space as well.
Yeah,
and you have been in an airplane, correct?
Yeah.
Have you ever been to an airport that only has east-west landing and takeoff?
No, they do have north and south as well.
They have north and south, exactly. Yeah. So how in the world does a plane take off and land north and south if the Earth is spinning?
Have you been in an airplane?
Yes.
Have you ever
but what kind of motion?
The seat without holding on to anything and walked to the bathroom or wherever while it's flying at 600 miles an hour? Have you?
That's
exactly.
An enclosed,
yeah, so the Earth is like a closed system.
Right. So it's an enclosed system. So
by closed, I mean
an airplane, it's enclosed.
Yeah.
But if I'm in an airplane and I'm landing north and south and the Earth is spinning, how does that work?
Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean closed system as in the Earth is surrounded by a container. I meant closed as in it's stable and there's no outside influences.
It's probably a Freudian slip. The truth
not what you said. Yeah, exactly. Yep. You admitted that. Too bad.
So according to Globers, the Earth is rotating at 15 degrees an hour Now, when you think about that rotation, it's not that significant. You wouldn't really feel it
Really?
if that was true.
What kind of
15
motion is
degrees an
that?
hour is pretty slow.
What kind of motion is
Yeah, it spins at like 1,000 miles
it's
an hour.
spinning?
Crazy.
So an airplane, you're talking about going linear, right? Linear motion.
But yeah, just like
If it makes a curve, what happens? What kind of motion are we experiencing? And
yeah,
what
but you're
changes?
moving relative to the force of the
Yeah,
Earth.
what about if you were on one of those waltzer rides?
Exactly,
You know, the
but
one where you
there's
put your
two.
back-
There, the forces change, and you're okay. So again, linear is very different. The vectors are different when you spin.
If they do it slow enough, you might not notice. But they never do it slow enough because that would be
You
too
do
slow.
realize that no one has ever detected motion of the Earth. That the only way that they infer it is looking at the lights in the sky. So you do realize that
Yeah.
there's never been
Or they
measurement of
claim
movement.
they've done it with a gyroscope, but other people claim it's inaccurate drift that causes like 7 degrees.
No, it's that it's caused by something else.
Yeah.
Tested.
you possibly
It changes the elevation with a talking a ring light gyro, and found that it actually changes based on elevation along the same latitude of the Earth, which means if it is spinning, if you change latitude, that would not give you a result. But if you stay on the same latitude and the drift changes because of elevation, there's a problem. That means instantly that it is not related to the spin of Earth at all. It means that there is no proof of spin there at all. It's something else. And that's one of the problems that most people haven't looked into, is how a ring gyro doesn't have the same drift along the same point of latitude at elevation changes. And that should tell you right then it is instantly nothing to do with gravity. Nothing. And nothing to do with spin.
That's a drop
It doesn't
the mic.
prove anything. See, people don't go and look a little deeper to find out why that is such a bad example. Don't understand that it's been tested beyond what everybody else has told you. Yeah, it showed a rotation at 15 degrees at one elevation in several tests. But somebody was smart enough to go along latitude, same exact latitude, and change the elevation. And the rotation changed by a significant amount. We're talking 13 to 14%. It's like 3 to 4% difference in the speed that they were noting by just a few hundred feet per hour. That was 3 to 4% from what I understand. I'll look it up again. But that was per hour, and you got 24 hours a day.
Okay, yeah, cool. I'm happy to keep talking, but if someone else wants to turn asking questions.
Well, I would just like to point out that,
encourage you.
Speaking of the 24-hour cycle, if you have high noon at in June, by the time you hit November, you shouldn't have high noon. You should have midnight. We should be losing way more significant daylight hours in our cycle around the sun.
They
the
do in the
heliocentric
northern
model.
hemisphere. They have
But we're-
constant midnight.
Oh,
Well, not
okay,
dark
right.
in the-
But that can also be explained on a flat Earth. But if you have a travel around the sun, high noon should be midnight 6 months later.
Okay. See the logo for this server. If you hover your mouse over it, it's a GIF showing the sun and moon spinning around. Do you believe that's genuinely the flat Earth model, or that's sort of just a meme? I heard other people say it's sort of more of a meme, and they don't believe that's the actual.
I don't
path of the sun.
subscribe. I don't
Okay, yeah.
subscribe. I don't subscribe to the flat Earth model. I don't know.
Okay, yeah, fair.
But I
Yeah,
know we're
because
not
that was
spinning.
one of. Yeah,
I know
that
we're
was-
not a ball spinning in space at 1,000 miles an hour. I know that.
Yeah, because in my mind, when I see a sunset, that contradicts the flat Earth model of the sun spinning around.
No,
but yes,
if you
I agree.
look at-
Yes, you're saying that's not the real model of the flat Earth.
I don't know what
Yeah.
the model is. I
Yeah,
can't
yeah, fair
prove
enough.
it.
Yeah,
I can't test it. I don't have the equipment. I don't have the resources to do that kind of testing. but I do know that it doesn't. If you look at our visual capabilities, and I posted it, I don't know if you can scroll up, but some of the craters that we see in the moon, we shouldn't see based on our available visual abilities if the moon is that far away.
Cool.
So if you can tell that the sun is that far away, right, and that big, then we shouldn't be able to see a sunset the same way. And what we're seeing in the rays of the sun peeking through the clouds, it should be straight all around. If it's that far away, you shouldn't have the V-shaped sun rays through the clouds. It should all be straight all the way across perspective.
Okay, yeah, I've never thought about that. I'll look into that. Is if the globers have anything, what their argument for that is, and I'll see.
Funny that you want to model when your own model globes because you're asking for a physical. It's like you have a globe.
I'm asking.
And the funny thing is that globe isn't accurate either.
No,
it's not. It's not even representative. It even says on the bottom a lot of them not to be used for anything to educate because you definitely don't navigate with them.
I went to several stores just looking at globes, and every single one of them had that same disclaimer on the bottom or on a tag, not to be used for educational purposes, and I just laughed.
I never knew that.
You guys want to hold on to this physical thing that you think that your realm is like because you've been told that since kindergarten, whatever.
Well, yeah, I agree.
Or whatever, and put in front of you every time it said, "This is where you live. You live on a beautiful blue marble."
It was not my fault they indoctrinated me.
Well, yeah, and that's the whole thing with like your belief and everything, right?
Yeah.
Do the research, do these things, go and validate these things for yourself and make your own decisions, not just what you've been told, right? That's what we're trying to promote you doing here, right? We're not going to, convince you. You have to do that yourself.
Yeah. So far,
when you go to the globers to find arguments for it, right? Because be careful and pay attention when you hear what they say, and make sure it's not based on baseless assertions, full of assumptions, propped up and backed up by calculations and explanations. Look for verification and validation.
Yeah, that's why I'm here. I'm getting the evidence from the flat earthers as well. Then I look at both the evidence from the flat earthers and the globers to explain something. And then look at all
just
the
understand
evidence from
that,
both sides.
Correct. Just understand that if somebody's trying to tell you, no, this is it, this is it, this is it, this is it, that's oppression to conformity. You have to make up your own mind, or other people will make it for you.
Yeah.
And what goes for going to those sites that you think are for your education, are actually for your entertainment. The Glober sites are for your entertainment. Where do they actually teach you to go and research and look up things that we're telling you that are known laws?
They don't tell you, they just tell you to believe it. They don't.
Or the equations, or how they got, or any of these that you need to actually go do yourself instead of expecting to go to a channel and have them teach you. I mean, you can go to MIT's courses on electricity and get much more than you ever will to go to some globe hating channel for entertainment, who will lie to you, will not give you the full picture. Like they will tell you the light ring gyro is a significant proof of motion of the earth, when they don't. They didn't give you the full picture and the other tests that have been run to make sure that that isn't what's.
Yeah, because I see some random YouTube videos
Certainly
aiming to debunk flat earth, and they say blah blah blah. Oh yeah, they did the gyroscope test and it measured 15 degrees like flat earth, but I'd never looked at the other test.
And they did.
If it had
but they
errors.
didn't go and look further. They didn't go look
I
further.
agree. Yeah, I didn't do the test myself, and someone
Or
else.
they'll tell you refraction, or they'll tell you refraction. I have never seen, ever, I've never seen a city refract over the edge of, like, my hill behind me. I've never seen my neighbor's house refract up. I've never seen an entire city over Nevada refract up per refraction. but they claim that's the case over water, which has a much cooler surface.
And then when you ask them to define which kind of type of refraction could extend the horizon beyond where it actually, is, then what they do is they say, "Oh, rhetoric, I see." But it's like, really, seriously, because all of the refraction, it makes the horizon appear shorter. None of it. So if anyone, that's something else you need to keep in mind. If you hear them say, "Oh, it's just refraction," they just deny it, right? You need to ask them, say, "Well, exactly which type of refraction," and then look and examine have them to define it and tell it. And then you have to also take into consideration that these laser tests, like Dr. John D., he is a PhD in, and maybe someone can say it so I don't butcher it,
Spectroscopy.
Well, I can say
no, it's spectrophotography.
There we go.
Photography, those. Yeah. Photo.
He's a PhD in spectrophotometry, so it's like
Comet.
he takes into consideration the FE core laser test. They've repeated it so many times just to address all of the issues and everything that anyone brings up, and they take it into consideration. They give you all of the data. So if anyone asks them to define it and ask you, is
Okay, cool. Okay, yeah, and that also another thought I've had. If the Earth is flat, shouldn't there be no horizon? I mean, shouldn't it just gradually fade into pollution? Like
Let me
the
ask
black
you this.
swan.
Yes. Okay. So let me ask you this: the boats that go over the edge, right?
Yeah. Is it refraction making it?
Okay.
Sorry.
So, right, but the boats that go over the edge, the globe is actually claiming an edge, not the flat Earth models.
Or the globe is claiming a gradual curve, and if the boat
No, they're
goes
claiming
flying
an
up-
edge.
What do you mean, like a hard edge,
That
like a cliff?
Okay, so
Is that what you mean?
right. So the globe believers
Yeah.
will claim, "Where's your edge? Where's your edge? Where's your edge?"
Oh, I see. Oh, yeah.
Right? But if boats go over an edge, then the globe model has the claim of the edge, not us.
What do you mean? Are you saying the globe has claimed the flat Earth has an edge, or the globe is claiming the globe Earth has an edge?
The flat Earth model doesn't claim an edge. We do not claim an edge.
Well, it has to. Does that mean you're saying
We don't
it's
have to
infinite?
actually claim an edge. But if
Or
you're
as
claiming
in,
an edge,
or the
then you
government is
have
lying and stopping
the
people
burden
going
of
there.
proof. You have the burden of proof, right? But if
Okay.
we have actually proven that there's no edge, because we can zoom in to something that has extended beyond our visual capability, per the black swan, we can zoom in and say, "Oh, there it is," right? But if you have a curvature, you're actually proving an edge. You're claiming an edge. Now you have the
What do
burden
you
of
mean?
proof.
Do you mean a cliff edge? Like,
No, not a cliff edge, but an edge of like the
Oh, an
boats
edge of
went over an edge of sight, right?
Okay.
It went beyond our
yeah.
vision, so it went over an edge, it went over a curve. But if I can zoom in and see it, then I've disproved that edge.
Would you
okay, yeah.
agree if they're claiming it goes over the curve and that's why it seems to disappear and you can bring it back into
Yeah.
view? Would you agree it's not, in fact, going over any curve?
Okay, so do we have footage of a cruise ship eventually disappearing over the horizon from
Are
the
you
bottom?
following the live stream voice text? Because there's tons
Yeah.
of
Well,
GIFs and
Yeah, but it's just showing a boat at a fixed distance. It's not showing what happens if it just keeps going further away.
well, just click on it and watch it go. Continue to go on.
Oh, which GIF? Okay, the sailing boat just is like 5 seconds repeated. The GIF is. Is there a GIF, a time lapse of a boat going so far away till you can't see it?
You can find videos. Yes, you can.
Okay,
You
yeah.
can find videos.
Yes. Do those videos show the boat just getting smaller and smaller and tiny, like the perspective, or do they show the boat disappearing from the bottom up, while you can still see most of its shape.
Just click on that last one. It totally disappears, right? And then it comes back into view, and the bottom
Yeah.
is the last portion that you see when it comes back into view. Therefore, it's the first portion, and that's just due to angular resolution. You have a smaller angle, you have a tighter angle at the bottom than you do at the top. So it's obviously going to disappear from the bottom up. That's just perspective, because you
But
can get a flat surface and you can try
No.
this yourself. You can get a flat surface and you can get down at the level of the surface, and you can look at something. You can do this little test yourself. You can do it on the table.
Yeah, the flashlight. Yeah. You put a flashlight at the end of a long table and you lower yourself to the edge so your eyes are level to the table. You will see things that appear to disappear. And if you use a flashlight, you've then shown how the sunset works on a flat plane level.
Wouldn't it get bigger towards other people then?
I just posted a GIF of the coin on a table.
Yeah,
and
I'm watching
it's
that.
Yeah, you can do a little test like this yourself, an observation like this yourself, and
Okay,
see.
yeah,
and
I
so
see
you know
it,
that the
yeah.
table's not curving.
Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, I'm going to look into that more. That's weird. It seems to get blurry, like they blend together, but it does look like the coins disappearing below it, even though it's not. Yeah,
Right.
That's
Part of your vision. Yeah, it's part of your
That's the
natural
sunset.
vision. How your vision works. It always way.
But don't the cameras on a zoom lens also show it? Oh, I guess true. That's just like
Same
an eye, but more
thing.
powerful.
It's made
Yeah,
after
you're right.
the
It
eye.
would be the same thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
Okay,
you've
I'm
got
gonna
the same
research that more.
problem.
That's interesting. Yes,
Yeah.
in this chat, this last chat, I've seen 3 things
Oh.
that I found interesting that I don't have an answer for at the Glover. So I'm going to research them more.
Because you claim a physical
Yeah.
horizon on your globe, and this doesn't. You don't see a physical horizon like a wall come up and blocking your vision around a corner. It's not happening.
And make sure that you check out the additional information at the bottom of the server. There's tons of helpful, useful information down there. You'll
Let
find
me ask
all
you
of this.
this. Do you ever see refraction happen around a corner?
I mean, with my own eyes, I've only ever just seen the mirages from heat. I'm not sure if that is that different, like on a road, on
But-
a highway.
Right.
But
But
that's,
have
is that
you ever
different?
seen something refract vertically? Do you ever see
Probably
like
not.
if you
They
have a
just-
garage that's detached from your house and you're sitting in the behind the you're sitting behind your house, did you ever see your garage refract to the right or to the left?
I mean, it's too close, isn't it?
Right, but have you ever seen anything happen from a distance?
No, I guess not like the film of skyscrapers from. They just seem to get sort of blurry.
Right.
Like
Right. So if we don't have refraction vertically, why would we have refraction horizontally?
oh, because the layers in heat from the water is horizontal.
Okay.
Like the war
Because of
the air's
what?
warmer. With
Right.
the weather, the air's warmer.
Because hot air rises, correct?
Yeah, yeah.
Right. So I see mirage when I drive through Nevada, right? Of course, the heat rises. You see what looks like a lake of water over the road. So the road looks wet from a distance.
Yeah,
correct?
yeah.
That still doesn't explain having a boat mirage up over water. Like for that much of a distance, if I can see 70 miles away, I
That
can see
GIF is
from Hawaii to Kauai. I can see from Hawaii to Kauai the next island away. How would I be able to see that even if there's mirage? That doesn't make any sense. If I'm seeing looming or towering 70 miles away is far too much of an extreme example. That's eisegesis. You're taking your own liberty with that specific type of refractive. And you're saying that I can see 70 miles away because of refraction? It should be like 60 miles below the curvature. 60 miles of towering refraction happens?
60 miles. Wait, wouldn't it be like
So
1 mile?
per
or
the
something?
curvature, per the
I can do
math
the
of
calculator.
curvature.
Yeah,
Okay.
70 miles, is it?
70 miles I'm able to see from the beach of Hawaii to Kauai.
Okay.
And I
yeah.
can see that because of towering.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So there should be 2,900 foot towering in between.
Right.
So like over half a mile. Okay, but how do you know you're not just seeing the lands and mountains taller than half a mile?
Because I can see
Have
the
you
beach
measured?
if I zoom in.
Oh, I see.
If I right.
Okay.
If I'm on the beach and I can see the other beach with a telescoping camera or a telescope, or on a
Okay,
clear day
yeah.
with my own eyes, that does not.
Yeah. Okay, if there's refraction, how can we know what if the Earth is curved and the refraction is allowing the light to travel over the mountain? I'm not saying that's true. I'm saying what if that is a possible explanation?
But that's taking extreme liberty with a specific refraction.
Yeah, I'm just
'Cause
I'm just trying to
I can see
speculate,
maybe
yeah.
70 feet, maybe, but there's no way you're gonna see that much from that distance using refraction.
Okay, have they
Some
tested?
infrared.
Yeah.
There's some infrared photography, and if anyone's going to claim that, like I said before, again, you're going to have to get them. You need to get them to define which type of refraction can cause an effect like that, and then there's certain variables that would, even for refraction to exist, like you can determine whether or not it's possible for any refraction to exist just by knowing the variables of the atmosphere.
Yeah, that was my next question. So have either ballers or flat earthers determined exactly how refraction actually works to know what you should be seeing and how
They
much
won't
of what
even
you're seeing is
define what
distorted?
refraction they invoke. When you ask them, they won't. They say, "Oh, well, that's just rhetoric." That's exactly what I get. I just got told that yesterday.
Yeah, this highway GIF that Drace posted, that's very interesting. Yeah, I didn't think of that. That's clearly
Okay.
showing how flat the highway is. Yet when you go down, the refraction makes it look like how I see the horizon at sea.
Okay, so I'm
So,
going to post this, and I'm
Yeah,
going to
so,
ask you.
yeah.
I'm going to ask you how you see this if it's refraction, and it's there. How do you see silhouettes if it's refraction?
Okay, see the gap of the buildings on the left. In my mind, okay, what are the measurements? That's Chicago, isn't it?
Yes.
So what if the buildings are just taller than the amount of curved earth in between?
Right, but how do you have a silhouette with refraction?
Well, what if all the light from the sun is also part of the refraction? I'm not saying it is. I'm saying
I don't think you
how
can
do we
get a
know if it
silhouette.
is or isn't?
You
What's
can
the
just
difference?
you can't get a silhouette with refraction.
That's the
In front
problem. A physical item has to cause a silhouette. You cannot have some looming apparent object. Apparent, meaning that it's not the real thing. Just like you guys are claiming an apparent horizon. We all claim a horizon. There has to be physical horizon. Just like there would have to be a physical item to have a silhouette. Light shines through
I don't
things.
understand. Isn't the silhouette no different from just if it was midday, those buildings were lit up? Wouldn't it be the same?
A
Regardless
silhouette
of the sun.
is
Yeah, the black building.
yeah, it's still there. You're just not actually seeing it. You're just seeing the outline of it. So, I mean, that still wouldn't that doesn't help you any.
Well, it wouldn't matter what angle the sun is. If the sun is any angle behind those buildings, they would be a black silhouette. And because it's sunset, it's darker. All the buildings are darker instead of just a slight, isn't it?
I don't
Okay.
think so.
I mean, that makes sense to me.
No.
I mean, I'm not saying it right. Just
That doesn't work with the laws of light.
the sun could have been at any angle close to that, and you get the same silhouette, wouldn't you?
but you're seeing it.
No.
That's the problem. It can't loom and cause a wet. What are you seeing? If something looms, is that the real item? Is something
No,
that's
he's
loomed?
saying that the sun and the silhouettes are looming at the same time. That's what he's trying to claim.
But like
that doesn't follow the logic.
Well, hang on.
It
Let's
doesn't
cover
follow
the
the
lumen
logic.
because I was really excited to learn about lumen because they call it lumen because it appears that the object is lifted up, but it's not actually. The object is still exactly where it's at. It's not changing. The only thing that happens is the sky is cast downward to give the appearance that the sky is that the horizon is shorter than what it is. So, like in that picture that Miguel just posted, that boat is still like that is actually where the boat is.
Oh yeah, that's a whiteout. Yes, I was really confused. That I thought those pictures looked so fake, but I realized that's not a mirage. It's a whiteout. So
It's lumen. That's what that's what they
That is
call
the
lumen.
definition
Okay,
of lumen.
I've got
It's
a
the
video.
physical item.
No, what he's trying to claim is towering. He's trying to claim towering. So he's because it's lifted up. So if
Okay,
you're right,
This
so
boat
you're
one,
saying that the Chicago skyline with the silhouettes is a towering type of refraction.
I never studied anything how refraction works. I mean,
But
it's only what I just basic stuff I was taught in school. I have no idea about the
Towering
different types.
doesn't lift it up either. So.
I see what you mean. So Globe has explained how the refraction lets you see the buildings over the curve in the middle of the day, but you're saying at night, at the sunset, those mirages shouldn't be possible. Therefore, how are we seeing those buildings? I think now I understand.
Correct.
What you mean?
Something
I see. Yes, I didn't
backlit by
understand.
the sun.
Yeah,
Yes.
now I understand what you're asking. Yes. Oh, that's interesting.
It's a physical
Yeah.
item. Nothing moves because of visual effects. They are really there. That is the real object.
Yes. Yeah, I see what I mean. Yes. So
Oh,
the globe
Miguel
is
just posted the perfect one. 52 miles away, you should have over 1,800 feet of curvature, hiding the tallest building completely.
Yeah, shorter than 1,800 feet, isn't it? Yeah. Wait, Willis Tower.
Thank you, Miguel.
Yeah, so that
But also
tower,
with mirage, with types of refraction, you're going to see a lot of distortion happening, and there doesn't appear to be any distortion in that last picture that Miguel posted.
Yeah, I could easily recognize that as the Willis Tower with the square stuff on the side. It's pretty clear.
And just keep in mind, distortion, it only affects things on the horizon. It's
Yeah.
not going to cause the horizon to appear further than what it is. There is nothing. So did you grab that video about Life is Short that I posted for you earlier when I posted about angular resolution? Because it'll go over all the different aspects of perspective. And when you get on their channel, you can scroll down. They have other channel that they have other videos, and they do a really good job explaining that. And you sound like you really want to look into this and understand it. So I'm also going to post another channel where it's like a lot of the science that is involved in the discussion with flat Earth versus globe Earth is covered. So if you want to watch that, it would be a great educational video for you to watch. I just want to make sure you grab these.
Cool. Okay, thank you.
I'll hush and let whoever continue. And then grab this
I don't know.
one, too.
I gotta say that
Yeah.
Ladies' Night is awesome. So I'm gonna come
Yeah,
back.
thank you for answering all my questions. It's very interesting.
Yay.
And grab that link too, by the way.
Called the
Do we have
20
any other new people? Sorry, guys, I'm at the gym, so I'm breathing heavy. But I just want to make sure other new people get a chance if they have
I'm
questions.
sure you won't get any complaints.
Not so sharp, Cheddar. Are you going to speak now? Did you bring any evidence?
Did you want me to bring evidence?
Oh, no, I just want you to sit here and speak when you're not supposed to speak. No, of course I want you to bring evidence. But you can speak now, sorry. You can speak now, but do you have any evidence that you brought this time?
Specifically, or just in general?
Well, you were busting at the seams earlier, so just go ahead. This is your chance.
Well, and you've been here before, and we told you
Oh,
you needed
okay.
evidence, so you knew this was coming.
1 second. Post it in the live, because you guys keep saying all this stuff about gravity not being a thing. So.
Does heat
You think we
surpass
need
gravity?
definition?
What?
You think we need a definition of gravity that we don't know what
No,
it is?
you guys just think it's not a force. So
Of course, it's not a force.
Well,
Wait a minute, I must have missed the part where they said it was a force. Because I'm assuming you're talking about mass attracting mass, or what force are you talking about?
Gravitational.
What? Can you elaborate?
What do you mean? What are you trying to
Can
say?
you elaborate on this force? What is this force? What force are you talking about? The gravitational force. Elaborate on it.
Wait, you
Salt
didn't catch that,
in a
Brad?
glass with an egg can disprove that mass attracts mass.
What? Disprove?
Because I'm pretty sure you're talking about Newtonian mass attracting mass, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
That's your force. What are you on about?
We refer him to the counter to his post. Right below your post, Cheddar, would you look, please, and make sure that you note that it is not a force. Current under your definition is looks calling it a force.
Is that what? I have bad connection.
Look at the post right below what you gave us for gravity. Yours is 100 years behind the current thinking. Notice the actual citations from where they're from, and it's not just an encyclopedia like Brit.
You're saying Einstein, who died a while ago, is part of the newer thinking?
Yes. You ever heard of relativity, right? Please read through those because that is the current.
Yeah.
Maybe you can read it out
You're
loud.
100 years behind.
Can you read it out loud so we can make sure he comprehends it?
No, you're talking outdated here. There is no force, and that was proven with the more relevant gravity, which is bending and warping of space-time. There is no force, so I'm curious to what force you're referring to. Because I'm not entirely sure you understand what you're talking about.
Please read it out loud like we asked.
I'm entirely sure that he doesn't.
Do you know how to read, Cheddar?
Yeah.
Okay, can you show us that? Because I don't know. I'm not convinced you do. So prove me wrong, please, and read it. Please prove me wrong and read
We
it out
can
loud.
assume. I mean, I know people who can't read or write. So.
Me too.
That's really like the first thing.
Okay.
Oh my God, the stupid things keep popping up in it.
Take your time. Just read it when you're ready.
And next, real quick, while they're looking that up, MP Door is a member of Tyler Box. We've had some conversations. It goes.
Ladies, not crit.
I'm sorry, I forgot. Okay, I apologize.
Do you want to read it out, or would you like one of us to read it for you?
Yeah, sure.
Check.
What do you? Okay, let me find it.
You had such ease in posting. It's right below your post.
Letting you ladies know he's got a new guy, and then it has a emoji.
Oh my God.
Well, you guys did tell me it was right below my post.
Yes, right below your timestamp. 3:20.
Your original one.
Quote: Einstein's new theory, Jesus Christ.
Do you like
You
us to
can
read
leave
it for
him
you?
out of it, by the way. You can leave Jesus out of this.
Is much more fundamental nature. It becomes almost a property of space. Gravitation is thus the properly speaking of not a force. In the new theory, Einstein's theory of gravitation is the astronomical consequences of monthly notice to the Royal Astronomical Society. And then it has some citations. Quote, Einstein, General Theory of Relativity, 1950, a prototype of all modern gravitational theories. This is a crucial integrate involving the colossal intellectual jump. This is a concept of gravitation and is all bold, I mean all caps, not a force, but as a manifestation of the curvature of space-time, ... Then some link, Brian Fox, there, quote, there isn't really a force, gravity at all. And then ... The YouTube link, Gregory pound Muser, 2019, gravity is not a force, but you can think of it as a force. Gravity isn't a force. Well, quote, gravity isn't a force. Physics, hypertext. Summarize general relativity that says matter bends space-time, and the effect that bending space-time to create generalized kind of force is the act of the object, however.
There you go.
So do you think gravity is a force?
But rather, the object is following its geosited path throughout space-time.
Thank you for reading that. Do you think gravity is still a force? Stop. Do you think gravity is still a force?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Einstein, it never said, Einstein specifically said, so that it was a force. It was just a quote of his new theory and his thinking, so he didn't
So
actually
you're going to have read all of that
and then it's
So you're going to deny.
speaking.
Oh, no, you're not. I muted you.
So you,
What a little
Cheddar, you're going to
pathological
deny.
liar.
You're going to deny going college courses would teach it is not a force. That's what the physics textbook linked for you. So that is what the standard nowadays. If you want to be honest and come on here and concede that you called it a force because you were 100 years behind and didn't realize it had been changed by the theory of relativity, then you're more than welcome. But if you keep up this kind of thing where you like to think you are way smarter than everybody else, don't have to concede anything when you've been mistaken, okay to be mistaken, no big deal. But you're not going to do that. Come on here and then try to overtalk everybody and say that you're still right when we've provided what the current understanding is, with the link citations and what you would actually be taught in college.
I'm sorry, but I think, Cheddar, if you're still talking about a force, I would like you to go through what your force is. Because clearly you're not talking anything relevant to what gravity is known of today. You're on some different shit. So I'm curious to what your force is and how you can prove it's there.
Even if you subscribe to gravity as a force, you're still violating the second law of thermodynamics.
No.
Oh yeah, we can leave that aside for now, but I want to know what the fucking force is.
You have to either prove your understanding of it, the 100-year-old Tonian, that's what you really want to do, which has already been superseded by minds much greater than even us.
So what's going to be, Cheddar?
What's what going to be?
You have to be
She asked me
honest.
Two different things.
You have
Why
to
is this such a
concede.
hard convo? Like, I can't. How
You
old
want
are
me
you,
to-
Cheddar? How old are you? I'm just curious.
Why?
Well, because you're talking to adults right now, and I want to make sure you can have an adult conversation. Seems like you're not even paying attention.
Well, it feels like you can barely comprehend what you've just read. So.
He could barely read what he just read. Sorry.
What?
It's true, Cheddar.
Well,
Well, just
Mic check.
just answer Bambi like she's wanting to know what the force is.
What's the force? How
It's
can
a,
we prove it's there?
it's a, like a, just a force that attracts between all matter.
And how do we prove it's there?
It's just pixie dust. So it just matter. Moves
But how can
matter.
we
My
prove that
pixie
force
dust
is there?
moves matter.
How can you're claiming that there's a
Prove
force
me
there
wrong.
that see, touch,
A
move, do
simple
anything with? How can you
experiment.
prove that that
There's a
force is
simple
there?
experiment. Simple experiment out there can disprove gravity as a force. If you take a cup of water and you put an egg in it, right, and the egg sinks. It's not a rotten egg, and it sinks, and you add salt to that water, a few tablespoons of salt, and that egg will rise. It literally disproves that gravity is a force.
That's buoyancy.
No, sweetheart. You're claiming a force and you're saying it's there. It's amongst things. How do you prove that? Prove to me.
You know.
Thing you claimed right now.
Go.
No, on you go.
Okay. Do you know what the moon is?
Here we go. I mean, I can look at it and tell you what I think it is, what it looks like. Sure.
So, do you know something? Do you know that the moon orbits around the Earth?
I observe it above my head. Now, what have you got to do about this force that you're claiming?
What am I going to do about it?
I'm asking you to prove the claim that you made of this force being there, and you're talking about the moon and how you assume that it's spinning around us. What you observe is something moving above your head in the sky. I want you to prove the claim that you made of the force. Are you a Jedi or something?
Yeah, I can prove it's there because if there was no gravitational force, it would not be orbiting the Earth.
What?
Holy crap, Ed.
I'm sorry, take it back like 300,000 steps. You're claiming that there's a force. You observe something moving in the sky, and this force that you cannot prove, you're saying, oh, well, that's what that is. Is that what I'm hearing? So if I tell you that rainbows come out the arse of a unicorn, and that's because I see rainbows, and therefore unicorns create those rainbows, this mythical force of a unicorn creates these rainbows. Does that make sense? No.
So you're saying the moon isn't real?
I've not said anything about them.
Say that.
I observe something moving above my head. You're assuming that it's spinning and then there's this magical force. You sound like you should be writing the next Star Wars movie.
Or is it magical?
What is force? And how do we prove that
It's do you not understand?
You make a claim of there being a force, something you cannot touch, you cannot see, you cannot feel, smell, taste. You make that claim and you say, well, look at the moon. Now you have a force. Do you understand how crazy that sounds? Prove the claim that you make. Don't just say, well, look, there's a thing in the sky. Force. What?
Observation does not equal causation. Do not understand basic logic. Just because you observe something doesn't mean it's caused by what you claim it is, unless you can prove that's the actual cause. Could be caused by several things. The moon could be there for several different reasons, but you're only considering one because you've been indoctrinated with one that you absolutely believe with a faith.
I'm
Hello
sorry
there.
you trusted the people that taught you what you now believe, but the people that you claim are trustworthy to tell you information doesn't make that information true.
In your model, don't you have?
We don't have a model.
Have a model.
I've heard the words model come out your mouth a lot. At what point, who, where, when gave you a model? Did anyone give you a model? And can I see the model they gave you?
Yeah, sure. Just I can look up on Google real quick.
No, because did that come from any of us
That's
on
where you
this
get all
network?
your sources.
Will Flat Earther give you a model? Did we claim a model in here at all? Or are you just assuming one and going to Google one? One that doesn't make sense, one that's probably from the Flat Earth Society to deter you from Flat Earth. You're talking to actual Flat Earthers.
Actually, from
Has
your
one of
Discord, actually, and the logo of the server.
No, that's not a model. That is an avatar.
is.
That is just a representation of somebody saying that they are a flat earther. It has nothing to do with a model. We have never claimed a model. Never.
So why do multiple people of you have a
Because
model
you
on
don't
there?
talk to us about it. It's not a model that you're seeing. You're seeing an avatar, a
I
picture.
don't think that's what a model is. Do you know what the heliocentric model is? The one that you're taught in school, the one that is everything true, apparently. They provide us a model that's extremely flawed. They give us a radius, circumference, everything for this Earth that is all completely flawed. We never provide you a model, mainly for the pure fact that it would need to be 100% accurate, and well, we don't know what's past Antarctica. We can't give you a complete accurate model of the Earth. We can draw pretty pictures and put them as our avatars, but that ain't a fucking model.
So if So why can't you make a model that's just mostly accurate?
I feel like we've had this conversation like several times before. I remember having something like this conversation. Are you intentionally acting this way, acting this dumb? I really hope you're not this dumb, because I know we've talked about this before.
Oh, come on. Could you be a bit more civil than that? I thought you were talking about adult conversation. I'm a global Earth person here, by the way.
Okay, you're not.
Am I allowed to
No.
I'm sorry. I'm curious. As a man, am I allowed to speak here if I'm a globalist?
No, you can, but you can't talk over me. So
I apologize for speaking over you.
On mute. Yeah, because this is the thing is we deal with this kind of intellectual dishonesty, and I get that he's younger, and I almost feel like we're taking.
He is younger, right? I mean,
because you're not prepared to talk and listen to adults. But this is the thing: is he's come in here before and said the same stuff, and we've already clarified to him, and he's intentionally asking retarded questions to be annoying. He doesn't actually want to make any progress.
I do understand frustration with trolling, yes, but
yeah, so he's trolling.
It is. I do understand, yes.
Waiting for him. Quit white knight for him. He was here twice last week.
There's what, 50 people here? You're ganging up on a younger person.
He came here twice, so go away.
Rules when you came in.
I apologize. I'll mute myself. It's all good. I just wanted to remind you guys to please be nice.
We don't need that.
We don't need your help.
And
He
as
needs
I
that.
hold on, hang on, man. I thought you agreed to the rules. I just saw on the VC check-in that you agreed to all the rules, and here you are, concerned trolling. So what are you doing?
Just making sure it's civil, right?
It is civil. She was not. Hang on. She wasn't being disrespectful at all.
Okay. I'll just the quote, are you retarded? Quote, are you a Jedi? Quote,
No.
just things like this.
She's
These
asking
are
him. Hang on. She didn't. She said she didn't say he was retarded. So what's the problem?
It's okay. I'll drop it now. It's nothing to get attached. I just want to.
And don't worry, and Pidor, if you think that I'm being too mean to him, just wait till it's your turn and you're put on the spot, because you're actually an adult, and so get the lube ready, because we're gonna tear you a new asshole. Okay, so just hang tight, baby.
All right. It's all good. I'll be here.
Just be civil.
I'm
all
always
right?
free.
Back to Cheddar. So Cheddar, the point is, when you make a claim, especially one as bold as there being a force, you better be able to know what you're talking about. The only reason this has escalated so much is the issue that we're having, especially with people who are younger that come in here. We try to tell them, you can't make a claim if you don't really know what you're talking about. Sometimes the best thing to say is the words, I don't know. That's the most intellectual thing you can say, rather than claiming a force and telling me to look at the moon and that's my force. That doesn't work. It's best to just say, look, I don't know, and I'm open to my
Just can call me younger. How young do you think I am?
It does. I'm back to the one. I really don't care. But the point is that I'm making, which I don't know whether you heard, is it's okay to say I don't know. All right.
Okay. So what's your point?
Oh my gosh!
The point is, when you mention the word force, and you then prove to me that you know nothing of what you're talking about, don't say the word force. Like you make a claim of there being a force, and then you're unable to back it up, prove it, or even discuss it intellectually. So why mention it in the first place if you really don't know what it is or how to talk about it or how to prove it? Why mention it?
And then when we give you information, you know, that it's not a force, maybe you should take that information and look into it instead of
So
trying
you
to
guys are saying, never mind.
continue to defend something that you know, don't really have any knowledge of.
Sorry if I'm interrupting. My Wi-Fi is bad.
You're good.
Like, do you know what I mean? I can't hear you, and then I think you're done talking.
Fine. Yeah, go ahead.
So you guys are saying that like an obviously out of this world moon is not there. It's not real. It's actually in the orbit.
You're putting words in our mouth. At what point can you give me a timestamp in the live stream where I can go back and where I said that it's non-existent? I told you, look up, it's there. There's this thing and we call it the moon. Great. I'm not saying it's not there. I'm saying what you're saying, which is, look at the moon, there's a force, voila.
Well, you're also mocking it by putting rainbows, fairy dust, and unicorns in it.
It's to help you understand how crazy it sounds, because the unicorn's crazy rainbow thing sounds crazy, and so does telling me to look at the moon and voila, there's a force. That's just as crazy as unicorns and rainbows.
It's not even a real claim.
It's just as valid.
Cheddar,
it's not even a claim.
Cheddar, do you understand how to make a logical argument and then back it up with your evidence? Have you ever done this before? Because I know you were here last week and went through this whole thing where you keep coming with these claims, but you never back them up. See, that's what we're telling you. Yes. If you're going to claim something, when you come to this server, you better back it up. Or you're just here to learn, or you're not allowed to argue because you have no argument. You just keep saying it is because this is what I've been told and I believe it, so you all better believe it, and you must be stupid or think it's not there. See, your attitude is one of intellectual dishonesty. And it's apparent that you're very young and that you think all adults are kind of dumb, especially us that are flat earthers. It comes off. I mean, I can tell that that's the attitude. I understand it. I'm in the age. I have a kid. I know. But you need to quit making those assumptions to deal with something honest. If we ask you to prove a claim, you must provide the evidence of how that is proven. You must go do it yourself and not just say, well, you see the moon, and so you should know there's gravity doing that. How do we know that there's gravity doing that? How do you know that there's something not something else doing it, that it doesn't work the way that you were told? You don't know.
In our mouth. None of us at any point said that the moon doesn't exist or that it's not there. None of us ever said that. So don't put words in people's mouths. Just listen to what we're saying. And if you don't know something, just say that. If you can't explain something, just say, I don't know, and I'll look into it. It's not that difficult, rather than making things up that we've said and making things up that you don't know how to talk about.
Really is okay to be your age. You're not going to know how to do all these arguments unless you've studied them and actually listen to adults for a while how we go about this. We have a very, very, very specific way we go about making arguments that aren't fallacy. You need to go study what a fallacy is. I doubt you've ever studied philosophy or logic.
So we're glad to have you here, and if you want to ask questions and have a discussion, then that's cool. That's one thing that's totally different from trying to defend something or claiming that, you know, claiming that something is without anything to back it up. So maybe just, you know, make sure that your approach is not that you're making claims or like Bambi said, putting words in people's mouth, because you did do that many times. So just keep it within that context. And if you have questions, ask. Look at the information and go over it. But like for now, I think we could move on to maybe MP if you guys want to.
I still have a question.
Okay, go ahead with your question.
Do you guys think that Australia exists?
Okay, so let me.
Are you stupid?
No, of course
really?
not. Australia
No.
doesn't exist.
No.
We're just pretenders.
We've got Australians here. Didn't you hear that the whole time? Come on.
Let me
No,
just
I
explain
didn't.
what's wrong with the first place, all right? Have you heard of the Flat Earth Society? You probably should have heard this in your check-in anyway, but I'll repeat it for you. Have you heard of the Flat Earth Society?
Yeah.
So those people are not flat earthers. It's basically what's called a controlled opposition. It was made to deter people from ever looking into flat earth. There's a Facebook page, there's a Twitter, there's loads of things that are called Flat Earth Society. Barack Obama used it in a speech to describe all flat earthers. These people say things like, Australia doesn't exist. We're accelerating upwards through space and time, and that's what gravity is. We're a pancake. They say things like that. So then people like yourself will look at it and go, what the fuck? Flat earthers are stupid. They think Australia doesn't exist. They think we're a pancake. They think that we're accelerating upwards. No. It's put in place so you are deterred from ever looking into actual flat earth. You'll never get a real flat earther saying Australia doesn't exist. You'll never get one saying we're accelerating upwards. You'll never get one calling it a pancake. We're not the Flat Earth Society. Australia exists. Becky is one of our female flat earthers, and she's definitely Australian, and she lives there. She knows it exists, and so do we. But they make this thing.
Yeah, and
called
the funniest thing.
Deter you. Sorry.
Yeah, lovely to hear you, Bambi. I hope you're doing well, sweetie. Just to reiterate that, Australia is the flattest inhabited continent in the world. So why anyone would have come up with that troll is beyond me to put it into flat Earth.
I also have like some other questions. If you guys don't have like a specific model, do you think it's just like a flying disc through space?
You don't have a model.
You don't need a model to have that. What are you talking about? See, you think reality needs a model. You don't need a model for reality. You can test reality. A model is just to help your brain. Did you go up and look and see what I posted about what models are and how many different types there are and all the different kinds of things that they only play an important role in science, but they don't prove a thing.
Yeah, can we move on? Because he's just trolling now.
Yeah. Now, please, Cheddar, I'm going to post something about logical fallacies, and it's even probably right up your alley because it's based on Star Trek cartoon. Yeah, Star Trek. Why don't you go through those videos and learn those before you come back so that you have a better grasp how to make a proper argument?
Yes.
Yeah, before
I do want us to get to MP Door at some point.
Yeah, just before you move on, we're obviously going to move on to the next person, but I highly suggest you go to the bottom of the server and look through the A to Z. There's everything you need to know from flat earthers. No exterior source, no, it could be someone else making it up to make us look stupid. The stuff that we post in there is from flat earthers and it is all correct. So get your information from there, from people who are flat earthers and providing it, not from the internet when you just type it in. Because the first thing that comes up is anti-flat earth stuff to deter you. So if you want to look at the moon, we have a whole tab for that. Laser tests, proof of flat earth, gravity, everything's in there. And you can do your own research rather than finding propaganda crap. That's all.
Well, do you guys like Frisbee Earth?
No, so I'm going to mute you now and try to move on to the next person,
Bye,
okay?
Cheddar.
Thanks, Cheddar.
You are a more mature young man. That's very mature to keep doing that.
Hello there.
Hello.
Yeah, for those who don't know me, you may call me MP. I've talked with Crit these last few days. He's told me to come in here I'm looking for some insight into some things, right? I don't want to go into this conversation with any thoughts of opposition, right? I heard you mention something about an experiment with salt and eggs, was it? Could you explain that a bit further?
Yep, never
So
mentioned that.
I brought that up. There was an experiment done that disproves mass attracts mass. And if you simply just take a cup of water, you put an egg in it, and it drops to the bottom, if you add enough salt, that egg will rise away from the salt, disproving mass attracts mass.
Interesting.
Simple experiment you can do in your kitchen.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. Okay, cool. So you use that as an argument against what was it? Just mass against
attracts
mass.
mass.
Mass attracts mass.
Mass attracts mass.
All right. So okay, just cleared that up. Thank you for explaining that.
Sure.
Could you guys sort of explain you guys' positions on what you do know, right? Or like what you, because like I hear lots of arguments coming from flat earthers that attempt to disprove, right? Is there anything that you guys can prove about anything? Just for some insight, right?
We don't have the positive claim. We don't have the positive claim. You have the positive
All right.
claim. So all we have to do is falsify your claim. That's it.
So we can look at nature and take it, the way it presents itself, objective reality. You don't see any curvature. It presents yourself as flat and level. You don't feel any movement, so it's presenting itself as stationary. And we have, gas pressure. Is the air that we breathe is pressurized gas, and therefore we need a container because that's what's required to have gas pressure. So anything that's being claimed outside of those parameters needs to be verified.
Interesting. Okay. That's cool. That's nice to know. Yeah. Cool. So I guess at this point, I just you guys would just be looking for me to offer something for you to dismantle, right? Because that's what flat Earth is really about, right? Disproving, or just clarifying.
How do you see the Earth? How do you see the Earth? If we're talking about the Earth, right? We're talking about the nature of the Earth. That's the discussion, right? So we all observe the Earth and experience the Earth in the same manner. And can you explain how you experience and observe the Earth?
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. So I am a global Earth person. I was raised through standard public education, right? So I do think the Earth is round, and I had some. Right. So there's a couple of things that I had that sort of support my beliefs, but I'll just mention one. Right. This will be the idea that that you can be in a plane, right? Travel a certain distance north, take 90 degrees, go that direction, the same amount of distance, right? And take one more 90 degree turn, and then end up in the same spot. So that's just the basis, one of the arguments that I'd say for a round surface, right? Making two right angles, ending up in the same spot, right?
Okay, I'm not trying to be rude. I just want to stop you for a second so that you don't waste your breath.
All right.
So what you're talking about is an observation, right? And I'm going to also post something that shows that it can be done on a flat level Earth as well. So you have north in the center, and you can, if you use north as in the center with your compass, and that's what you're using to guide yourself around, then you can still go around on a flat surface. But the reason I want to stop you is because if you're going to determine the nature of the Earth, like if you're going to determine whether or not it's got any sphericity to it, how would you do that? You would measure it. So
Yeah.
Do you have any measurement of curvature?
Right. Essentially, that was a test to measure. But which channel did you say you posted it in, or would you do it later, or DM it to me?
In the live stream voice text.
Live stream voice text. Let me look. It must be at the bottom.
Just above this room.
I see. I'm in it. Yeah. I just don't see where it's at. I see.
Here, I'll post it again.
All right. Okay. There it is. Thank you.
Yeah,
Interesting. Okay.
There's a demonstration where it can happen. With it doesn't prove anything, right? So if you're going to determine whether the Earth is a sphere or whether it's flat and level, then you would need to measure it. So we all experience it and observe it to be flat and levels. If you are saying that it's anything other than that, do you have a measurement?
Okay. Interesting. Yeah. All right. Cool. That's a nice point to make. I do see that. Yeah. I don't have any further comment on that, but I do have another question, if you don't mind.
Shoot from the hip, dude.
So, do you guys recognize or acknowledge the spherical geometry of the moon? Just to see where you guys stand.
It's a light in the sky. We see it. It appears to us as being round, and Flatman can beat me to it. That's a really good. Are you seeing that one where it says this is reality?
I don't know exactly what you're referring to. I'm just curious whether you, like what type of do we know any geometry that the moon would be?
Well, so the way that something appears observably to us optically, right, doesn't necessarily mean that that is the actual reality of it. So the only way to determine that is to measure it.
All right, all right.
May I interject?
Go for
it.
Does the moon spin?
I'm unsure at the moment. I don't have any direct answers to that.
So we
But
know that the moon does not spin.
Okay.
We know that it's the only light in the sky that appears to not spin. We
Right,
also
okay.
know that if you were to shine a flashlight on a basketball, that the center of the basketball would be lighter than the edges. We don't
Okay.
find that to be the fact with the moon. The edges are just as bright as the center of the moon. So if it is spherical, then the edges would be less dim than the center of it. So if it's
All right.
reflecting, if it's reflecting light from the sun, then the edges would be a lot less bright on a full moon than the center of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm more commenting on the geometry of it rather than its movement, right? But I would be curious. So you guys, I saw a comment in the chat here.
Yeah, I don't even know if we should let him really get into this because
It doesn't help prove that the Earth is round, right?
yeah, dude,
Just
I'm
because.
like a bounty hunter for buttholes. Okay, I think because how you're talking, it's just so condescending, and I can't take it anymore. I just left the gym because I can't take it.
I
So why don't
apologize
we
if it's
have-
coming off
Why
like
don't
that.
we? Yeah, you of course you do. So why don't we
Come
ask
on.
him the three? Why don't we ask him the three questions because he seems pretty confident in himself, and I just wonder if he can answer them before he
All right.
obfuscates to talk about
I'm open
the
to
moon's
questions.
geometry. Okay, first question, and then the other ladies can handle the second two questions. When, who, and how did they measure the curvature of the Earth?
Whoa, what was that?
I don't know.
All right. So when, who, and how you can measure the curvature of the Earth?
Yes.
All right. So I
Was it
can't say.
initially done? Because they had to do it before
Initially.
they went to. They had to do it before they could go to space. They had to know the size of the Earth.
All right. Yeah. So how could so how so
when,
basically
who, and
how?
measured the curvature of the Earth?
All right. I don't know the who and when because I don't study this. This is just a casual discussion I've come across recently.
Okay.
But I can mention how, right? So if you have a circle, right? Let's say we're taking a bisector of a sphere, just representing the Earth, whether it is or isn't. You can take a line sector from the circumference, right, and measure it against the radius. Against the radius, yes, to find the exact circumference around the Earth, and from that you can decipher its size.
Where did the radius come from?
You could also do it with theta, right? The angle as well.
Answer her question. Where did the radius come from?
No, you don't have the radius, but you can do the same thing by rearranging to
But you
have
just
theta.
said you needed the radius to get your circumference. So where did the radius come from?
I apologize for using radius. That was my fault. But you can do it with the angle that you use it from. If you take just to find the circumference of a circle with the sector, a line sector, and the angle that it is in the center, you can find the radius, therefore finding diameter, and then you can find the full circumference from that.
So again, we reiterated that they had to have done this before they went to space. They had to know how much fuel to take with them when they went to the moon, etc. So
Right.
how was this done? You're just giving me a hypothetical.
Right. So the only way you could do this.
You're giving me a hypothetical. I need to know this. If this is true, the Earth is curving. They give us a radius. They give us a circumference of 25,000 miles. Whoever's yelling, shut the fuck up. They needed to have done that. So please provide how that was done. Without a
Right, so
measurement, you have a belief. So don't give me a hypothetical. Tell me how and who and when it was done. And if you don't know, just say I don't know, and we'll go on to the next question.
I'm okay to saying I don't know, but that's not
Okay, next
this. I do. No, I didn't admit that I don't know. a way you can make this not theoretical,
You
which is what they did.
said you didn't know. Hold on. You just said you didn't know. You said you misused the term radius and you still didn't have an answer. So
No,
are
I
you
do
gonna
have
be
an
able
answer.
to, no, hold on. Are you going to be able to have like an intellectually honest conversation with us?
That's what I'm having.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, so you just said you don't know, and then she says next question, and then you spiral. So what were you spiraling about?
I didn't say I don't know about anything specific.
You did.
You did. You literally did.
And what you're offering is just a hypothetical of what you think could have been done, not what was actually done. Which you're
Listen,
missing
I can
the
answer
question.
your question as long as you let me explain it. Yes? Will you let me speak about it?
Explain how it was done, not how you think
Okay.
how it
Yeah,
actually
no.
was done.
How it
And
was
who
done. The
did
only
it,
way.
and who did it, and who did it.
Listen, I won't know who did it because this is not my subject, but I do know mathematics, and the way to make this not theoretical, which it was done, you can take a measurement across the length of a state, right, and use that as your basis of the sector. That is a way to make it not theoretical. That's the way it was done.
So you're
Does that
measuring
answer your
over-
question?
You're measuring the length of a state.
You could do that, yes. Make sure it's a direct
Of-
line.
of-
That's very possible.
Of land that has topography,
Mhm.
that has mountains and valleys. So you're using a surface that's not level, that has total anomalies and all hills and valleys and buildings and lumps
Mm-hmm.
and bumps to try to understand the shape of the earth. No,
How else
need
would
to
you do
use a
it?
surface- You would need to use something that seeks its level, like water or frozen water.
Say you did that over the Bering Strait.
To actually know, there's tons of tests that have been done to debunk curvature, but if you actually wanted to know if the earth is curving, you need to use something that's flat.
All right.
Or-
I don't want to get stuck up on this single question, right? But that's
Okay,
the
then
best answer I can provide.
Let's have Redford Bear do question number 2, because this guy doesn't actually know what was done.
Mrs. Musk,
Right,
may I ask
exactly.
a question?
Please don't discredit what I say. You know it's not true.
What? Hang on here, okay? Because, like Kai said, Mrs. Musk said that basically you're just assuming, right? You said I know mathematics, so this is how, right? So, but
No.
still, you're not answering. But did you not say that? Are you denying something else that you clearly said? Like,
I'm not. I apologize for interrupting. I'm not assuming anything.
You are,
Okay,
because
for someone who measured curvature and you won't say that you don't know, but you can't.
Oh, I will say that I don't know. I don't know a lot of things for sure.
Okay, so you said you didn't know. I said you said you didn't know, and then you said no, I didn't
Listen,
say that, and now
listen.
you've said it again.
No. Listen to me. Hey,
Not listening. I just muted him. The next thing is Redford Bear. Hey, girl.
Hey, how's it going? It's good to hear you. It's been a while.
Good to see you. I think you should do question number 2. I can't stand this guy.
Oh, I know.
Let's see if
Okay.
he'll be honest for question number 2.
Let's try. We can hope. We just always hope for the best. Okay. So since we can basically say you don't know how curvature has been measured, let's get to the second question. So how has the Earth been detected to be spinning on its own axis? So axial rotation. How have they measured this? And again, names and how they did it.
No, I'm here. I'm just listening because I'm polite and civil, right? Unlike you guys. It's all right.
Okay. Really? Is that how this
Cry
is?
me a river, JT.
Is this how this goes? So you don't
No,
like
no.
how the conversation?
Could you
No,
repeat the question, please?
I'm talking actually. So you
apologize.
didn't like how the conversation's going, so now you're starting to sling insults. Like that's not very good for your character.
How could a person not like ad hominems? Right? It's only natural to dislike when someone attacks personally, right? But it's all right. What's the second question again?
Well, you're the one attacking
What
personally.
personal
Anyways,
attack was there?
I don't
the
know.
one that he made on us. But anyways, okay.
No.
So we'll
Okay,
get.
just get to the second question. I'm listening.
Okay, you'll listen this time. Okay.
Oh no,
So
I'm
how
listening
has-
always.
Okay. So I'll repeat the question for you.
Mhm.
How has it actually been detected to be spinning on its own axis, which is axial rotation? So again, if you can provide how they've determined this and who has determined this, that would be great. And if you don't know, that's okay too. Just be honest.
All right. So the only way to measure whether the thing you're on is spinning in any sort of direction is by looking to the outside at a constant, right? So you'd have to look at something constant like the sun, which doesn't have a orbit. But you'd have to prove that the sun has an orbit, and I don't have an answer for that. That's my response to the second question.
So then you don't know.
I know that we can observe the sun, and it's a constant, and we know our orbit and rotation based on the sun.
Okay, but how you just said you'd have to determine that it's actually orbiting, and you don't know how that has been done. So then that would mean that you don't know, because me staring at the sun, I observe that the sun moves. That doesn't mean that I move. That means that the sun observes to be moving. Do you disagree with that?
She didn't ask for an observation. She asked for a measurement of axial rotation.
Right. We can provide a measurement of axial rotation based on the sun, which is a constant.
Okay, but this is an observation. This is not a measurement. Do you know the difference between an observation and a measurement?
You make measurements based off of observations. You observe the sun, you make measurements, you find the axis rotation.
How did you measure the distance?
That's an assumption. You're assuming that the sun is not moving.
That's the best answer I could provide with you. If you don't want to accept it, we can move on to the next question.
Yes, so then we basically have come down to the same thing as the first question, that you don't know. And that's okay, right? You're just trying
it's okay for me to not know, but no. It's okay for me to not know. I do understand that, but I have provided a significant answer to that question.
But staring at the sun does not tell me the measurement of, or the fact that the Earth is spinning. That's not how you measure something, right?
You can measure time and how often you see the sun and where the positions are at, and you can measure consistency of rotation. That's just how it goes.
But that's begging the question. That's
What question?
fallacy.
What fallacy specifically?
You're assuming that we're moving and the sun is not. That's begging the question.
You're right. I'm assuming that the sun is not moving and we are moving. And just as a casual learner, I cannot prove that to you at the moment. But just based off of that assumption, that's the way we would know, and that's my answer.
So then you don't, based on assumption. You don't know. Yeah, so it's an assumption.
We should
There's
move
no
on.
actual measurement, though. But we can't until you admit that you don't know, because
Based on the previous question, you've shown that you can move on.
Well, no, because you said you didn't know. You admittedly said it twice, if I recall correctly, that you denied both times, but...
I'll tell you that I did not, and we can move on if you want.
Okay,
What's the third question?
No. We're not done with the second one. So you admit that you don't know how it has actually been measured to be detected to be spinning. Not by you looking at the sun. How has it actually been measured, detected?
No. You don't just look at the sun. You look at the sun, you base it off of measurements and time, and from that you derive a rotation and a speed too.
But the sun, I look at the sun moves. I don't feel like I'm moving. I'm observing that the sun moves. So I'm trying to determine. But wait, hold on. So if I'm on the Earth and you're telling me that it's spinning, right? Shouldn't I figure out some way to determine that the Earth that I'm standing on? Why am I looking up at the sun, the sky, to determine what I'm standing on is spinning or not?
So you guys are saying that you believe that the sun has an orbit, yes?
Listen, this is what we're saying. We're asking you for a measurement of axial rotation. Either you have a measurement or you know where someone has measured it, or you don't. An observation of the sun and making an inference and assumptions and begging the question is not a measurement. So we either need a measurement or just concede that you don't have one.
All right, so you guys do acknowledge that in order to measure something, you need to observe it first, yes? You observe the sun.
You're still not
You
answering
measure the sun.
Listen, you didn't answer the original two questions. Were both asked specifically for you to provide where it has already been done that you're basing all this off. We're not asking for how you think it was done. We're asking you to provide who has actually done it.
Listen, if you're asking me when or who,
When
I don't
and
know.
who, and that's what we asked, and then that's why we wanted you to
We can
ask.
go on.
Listen,
We can go
we're
on to
not
the
just-
third question now, because he's admitted that he doesn't know. So now
I don't know who or when. I
And we're
do
not
know how.
asking you for more. We are not asking for your way of how. We're asking you for theirs, the specific.
No, it's not
okay.
specific.
He's
Sorry.
conceded. He's conceded already. It's okay.
I know, but he doesn't seem to understand. The pertinent question is somebody is asking you to tell us who did, how they did it, not how you think it was done from your own supposition and your own base of knowledge. We're asking you who has actually confirmed
He said
it.
he didn't know.
Should
So
be the end of the question, though. That should be the end of your answer. We're not asking you to explain how you would do it yet. You can do that later. These questions are made specifically to find out where you're at. Okay?
It's not an listen. It's not an explanation. It's not an explanation belonging to a person of being me or someone else. No, it is the explanation because it is mathematics. It's
No,
an
you
objective
admitted
science
you
based
didn't
off
know how you
measurements,
did
which
it.
are based off of observation as well.
You admitted you didn't know how they did
Listen,
it. and that
all I have
wasn't
admitted
about
to
that.
not know as a casual.
No.
Listen, the only things I have. Can you? Hey, no. You're interrupting me. Come on, let me speak. Right? Adult conversations. The only things I have admitted to not knowing is when and who, because I am not a person familiar of history, is specific into these astrophysics. Right? The only thing I can provide is how, not belonging to a person, just the way through mathematical knowledge.
Okay.
But that mathematical knowledge would still be based on a presupposition per your own admission.
Right. So my question to you guys believe that the sun has an orbit, right? Do you guys have any claims about the sun's rotation?
We're not making any claims.
Okay, hold on, stop. We got to stop because now it's derailing. He's conceded.
No. It's
But,
100% on topic. There's no tangents.
Yeah, because we're not done this. But
The
yeah,
three
go
points
True.
is to establish your honesty, right? And all she wanted to know is if you have knowledge of, or if you have any evidence where someone has actually measured axial rotation. So once you concede that you don't know and that you don't have that, then it's time for her to move on to the next question to establish your level of honesty with that question, and then we can go on to further discussions of what your beliefs are, because we're establishing whether or not you have evidence or whether or not it is a belief, right? And how honest that you're going to be about whether or not you have
Right. So I'm as honest as I can be, and you asked me how I'd know that the Earth is rotating on an axis.
No,
that wasn't the question.
Hang on. She asked
It-
you.
it was-
Hang on just a second. Listen, she asked you if you had measurement of axial rotation, right? She didn't ask you if you want to go on and explain that. That is a discussion for after the 3 points. So you conceded that you didn't have a measurement for axial rotation. So now let her move on to. She's going to move on to the next question.
Oh no, I've expressed that you're able to move on whenever you feel, because I have answered the question sufficiently.
Just trying to establish whether or not you're going to be honest, whether or not you have a belief, or whether or not you actually have evidence for and measurements for curvature, axial rotation, and then now, and you said that you didn't, right? You didn't have any evidence where someone has actually performed these measurements. So right here is where we
Right.
need to move on to the next question. After that, then we can go into the discussion. So Rayford Bear can continue with the next question.
Right. So your statement was 100% true right there. I don't know who or when, and if you ask for specifics, I can't provide. But I do know the theoretics of it.
Stop. That's all we wanted.
All right, move on to the next one. It's okay. What's your third question?
All right. Okay.
I'm here for insight. Yes. I'm more wanting to ask you guys some.
Okay, then can
questions,
you
right?
just
Because
stop
I'm curious
talking?
of what your beliefs
so I
are.
get on to the third question then, and we can get done with this, and then you can ask all your
Right.
questions.
I'm not stopping you from asking.
Okay. So the last question is, if the vacuum of space is in fact a medium that they tell us that, like it is, that we can travel to it, how can we, as a pressurized system, exist next to a near perfect vacuum without containment?
Okay. Interesting. Yes. So a prerequisite to this, I need to know if you guys believe we've recreated a vacuum on Earth, because my answer will include something along the lines of that.
No,
You
just
guys?
answer the question. Just answer the question. This is to get based on what you know. So you don't have to have us answer and influence your answer. Just answer the question.
All right. Well, okay. I just want to mention that the last question you did, but I'll answer this question to the full extent without asking you something if you request that. So yes, you can survive the vacuum of space with something that is pressurized as simulated on Earth, because we've recreated vacuums and we've been able to test that in person, you can actually go visit them at multiple space stations, right? So if you want to know the details of it, you can create your own pressurized system in the same way that the Earth is pressurized, right? You do acknowledge that the Earth is pressurized, yes?
Next to a 10 to the negative 17 torr pressure without a container.
This has been replicated, you're saying?
Yes.
Where?
They've done this in
Yeah,
multiple
this
places.
is amazing. Where? Yes, please provide.
Nobel
evidence.
Prize.
Right, so these are specifics. If you give me, let's say, half an hour, I could pull up a space station that does have this, and I could provide answers for you.
No,
But
we didn't ask you for a space station. Which
look,
is
if you're
again,
no, they have it in the space station. You're interrupting me here.
Yeah,
we asked for on Earth first, and the question is again, how do you get a vacuum against a
what?
Pressurized gas.
Sorry, I dropped.
Can you demonstrate? Is this demonstration that you're going to show? Is it going to show and demonstrate pressurized gas adjacent to a 10 to the negative 17 torr pressure without a container?
It's going to be a replication of space, yes, to the nearest degree that us as humans can possibly replicate.
You need to drum it up if it's going to demonstrate gas pressure next to a near perfect vacuum without a container, because that's what we need. Because if you do, then you will get a Nobel Prize and get put in the Guinness Book of World Records for showing a violation of the second law of thermodynamics.
Again, I answered you guys' question here, and I'm willing to provide specifics, right? But I don't go walking around with this stuff on the top of my head, right?
Well, okay, then you can go ahead and find it, drum it up, and
All right. Yes. Perfect.
Someone else while you find it.
MP, so
All
if
good.
this is possible for a vacuum to exist right next to pressurized air without a container,
just on Earth,
then
yeah.
you should be able to give us something that we can do ourselves and you yourself to show this on Earth, not in a space station. Some experiment on Earth that we can do to see how that is physically possible.
All right. All right.
Without a container.
Yeah, without a container.
Well,
Because
how
that's
could you
the
have
case.
a vacuum without a container, right? That's the whole
Exactly.
basic.
Here we go. This is what the question is, right? How is it possible?
Yeah, that's exactly what the globe model claims. It claims that we pressurized air system on the Earth is right next to a vacuum of space without a container in this open system. So that's why we're asking you if you can please bring us something down here on Earth where we can demonstrate this because how is this possible?
Are you attempting to say what do you mean exactly? Could you explain?
So the globe model, your heliocentric globe model, claims that there's a vacuum of space. If you look up, there's this infinite vacuum of space, and it's open. If you fly up, you're gonna reach this vacuum, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the air that we have here is pressurized. We know that because we can breathe, right? We have air pressure here. So what we want to know is how can you have positive air pressure like we have here that's next to a vacuum without a container? In other words, how can the two exist next to each other without something holding the pressure in? So if you have like a Coke can, soda can, right? It's pressurized on the inside, right?
Yeah.
So what happens when you open it?
It goes outward, right? So are you guys attempting to say that why isn't the Earth going why isn't the atmosphere just going out into space, being sucked into a vacuum?
Yes. How can you have gas pressure without containment? Sorry.
All right. So you guys are curious why the Earth isn't acting as if it were pressurized.
We're not curious.
They're making these claims, and we want to know if you're claiming, if you're agreeing with the heliocentric model, that's what you're claiming. So if you're claiming that, it violates the second law. You need to demonstrate that it's even possible, because what they claim is not possible. It goes against reality.
Right. This goes back. This goes back to what I asked in the first place. Was the egg, right? So the reason why the Earth is able to be inside the vacuum of space like this while acting as it is, how we say it is acting, right, is because mass attracts mass, and that just goes back to what I asked in the first place, right?
Oh, so you
Right,
didn't
which I
listen to
showed that
what
the experiment violated
the
it.
little kid read. You didn't listen to what Cheddar read.
No, I came in after Cheddar. Crit invited me like right as you were leaving. Yeah.
Yeah, mass attracting mass is dead. It's been replaced by Einsteinian gravity.
All right. So, do you mind if we talk about that a bit?
Well,
No,
the demonstration.
we're still dealing with your
gas pressure,
demonstration.
Yeah, we need that validated.
You made a claim.
Yeah.
The only answer I could provide with that is I'll have to look for an instance that's happened on Earth, but that can't happen outside of a container. That's what I'm trying to say.
Exactly our point.
Yeah, that's the
Well,
thing.
that's
Same
what-
thing, right?
Our
So then you
point.
can concede then that you need gas pressure needs containment, right? That's what you just
Yes.
said.
Gas pressure
Right,
needs
okay.
containment.
So yes, exactly. Welcome.
Welcome to Flat Earth.
No, I hear where you guys are coming from. I do, but the reason why Earth can exist without a container is because mass attracts mass, right?
But
you're wrong.
Mrs. Mux just told you.
And you're thinking it's because of gravity. You're thinking it's because of gravity. And also,
No, just that mass attracts mass. I don't claim to know anything about gravity.
Mass
Sorry.
attracting mass is supposedly Newtonian gravity. Two problems with that. One, gravity doesn't affect gases. And two, Newtonian gravity was replaced by Einsteinian gravity. So which
right.
angle do you want to take? Which angle do you want? We can go path A or path B. We can talk about how gravity doesn't affect gas. Or we can
Yes,
talk
that
about
one.
the Okay, all right, let's go. Perfect. Okay, so show me an example, testable, repeatable, demonstratable example of gravity affecting gas. Go.
Our atmosphere.
Nope, not the thing. You can't use the thing in question to prove the thing in question. Yes, thank you. Yep.
All right. Do you guys acknowledge that liquid is just more dense gas?
Why are you talking about liquid when I'm
Because
talking about gas?
no,
They're
the
separate.
reason why I'm talking about liquid, you're interrupting me. Please let me speak.
Yeah, I'm going to interrupt you all day long. They're
All
separate.
right. Do as you wish.
They're separate.
Just know it's unfair and it's ad hominem. But
Well, you're
go.
in our house. You came to our house.
I know. That's why I'm letting you interrupt me, right? You can be a bully if you want to.
Ad hominem.
Yeah,
No, you can be a bully if you want to, right? If you want to interrupt me, won't let me interrupt you. It's okay.
Goodbye.
You got to take your shoes off. You got.
I'll move on from it. It's okay.
Yeah,
I already did take my shoes off. I already did.
And you can't jump on my bed in my house. Sorry, that's only for me because it's my bed. So
All right, be a bully if you want to. I'm not saying anything against it.
I'm not being a bully. I'm just not letting you be a bully here. Okay. So let's talk about gravity
No.
affecting
Okay.
gases. Yeah, you actually wanted to go this route, so we're going this route. So show me an example of gravity affecting gas. Please do not talk about liquids. We're talking about gases.
Right. So we're in a gas right now. If you won't accept an answer in an environment that doesn't have a gas, we have to go to a liquid because a liquid is a more dense gas. So do you acknowledge that a liquid is a more dense gas?
They are separate molecularly. I'm talking about gases, not about liquids.
All right. We can't have productive conversation. I mean,
Yeah, because
no, you're not
Thank you
willing
for your
to
time.
answer the specific question. She gave you a very specific limitation, and you want to go all over outside it. You're the one that's here not being specific.
listen, I want to
enough.
go. I'm trying to play by your rules here, right?
No, you're not.
Yes, I am.
You just made a claim that liquids and gases were the same. They're different.
No. They're not the same. It's a more dense version than it. It's not the same.
More advanced version?
There's different molecular structure. It's more dense.
We're not talking about the liquid state of matter. We're talking about how the gaseous states of matter.
Because he made
Exactly.
the claim. Yeah.
Exactly.
You made the claim that the reason that the gases here don't fill the vacuum of space is because of mass attracting mass, aka gravity. So you are saying
Well, I wouldn't say gravity.
you're saying that's what mass attracting mass is.
No, we don't know everything about gravity. That's. I won't admit
Yes.
to thinking gravity
So
is gravity, but mass does attract mass.
No, it's been replaced by Newtonian or Einsteinian gravity. Yeah, thank you. Yes. Demonstrate it, please.
Anyways, I'm just trying to say, if you want me to prove that gas is affected by gravity, it has to be in a non-gas environment, right? So
We're
if you don't want to do that,
then gas wouldn't be affected by it then, right? Because we're saying gas.
because you
is not
can't
affected.
prove it,
So-
because you won't play by any sort of rules.
But
The
gas
rules
is
for
not.
the
What are you
gas
talking about?
atmosphere here. You're
Listen.
talking about the Earth environment, man, and you are trying to go off on something else that doesn't.
No,
really
there's no
pertain to
tangents.
what
It's
we're-
100% on topic.
Stop. You're talking to me, and I was talking. Stop that.
Sorry.
Listen, we were talking about gas, and you want to go into liquid. We are talking about the Earth environment, the atmosphere that you guys claim.
All right, so
Dick,
you
what's your
only.
point?
Sorry.
You cannot use a liquid in this case when we are talking specifically about Earth atmosphere. Gas.
All right, so I can't use a liquid, and I can't go outside a gas environment. What do you want?
No. You have to use what you can use here.
Why would you want to use a liquid to demonstrate how gas behaves when you know they're
Okay.
different states of matter and they behave differently?
The only reason I'd want to use a liquid is because I need there needs to be an environment that isn't what you're testing.
Because you need to use something that's going to behave the way you want it to reify your belief.
Yeah, he's trying to say that that gravity affects gases. So we have the ingredients you need right here on Earth.
So-
we have gravity supposedly.
Plus, you're
and we
using
have
a
gas.
100-year-old theory that is no longer in use. It hasn't
I
been
know.
used for quite some time. It's outdated by 100 years.
Let's go. So gravity.
If I
is
could
keeping
prove-
the gases. Gravity is keeping the gases here with us. Gravity is hugging the gases so they don't leave into the vacuum. Okay, answer this simple question. Why is your smoke detector on your ceiling?
All right, so this has to do with density, right? The density of a material decides whether it will sink or float, right?
Okay.
The material's denser or heavier than a liquid will sink in it, right? Even a liquid that is denser than another will sink. For example, eggs float when in salt water because the egg is less dense than the salt water.
Okay.
So it's not gravity, it's density.
Yeah, it's not gravity.
Exactly.
So you're
Yes.
saying this is okay, I want to kind of see where we take this because so you're saying if air gets hotter or if air is higher temperature than the surrounding air, it will rise. Kind of defying gravity, but according to you, not really. It will rise though, right?
Heat affects density, yes.
Okay, great. So what about that good old thermosphere up there?
What's the
Oh,
thermosphere?
The thermosphere is the second to last layer of the atmosphere. Now, why is and so then the thermosphere, then the exosphere. Okay, the exosphere actually has a lower temperature than the thermosphere, which doesn't work because the heat of the thermosphere should rise. And then because you've just admitted that temperature can kind of supersede gravity, then the idea that
Facilitate.
the idea that we have this hot layer of the thermosphere just chilling, it's been able to rise all the way up to the top and chill in the thermosphere. And now you're trying to say that heat actually cares about gravity, that it won't go, when you just agreed that heat can and temperature can surpass gravity. So we shouldn't have a thermosphere because the thermosphere is hotter than or higher temperature than the exosphere. And so the exosphere should go into the vacuum of space and then the thermosphere will go because, again, you admitted higher temperature gas defies gravity essentially or surpasses gravity. So the thermosphere will then fill the vacuum of space. Then the next layer will become the thermosphere and that will fill the vacuum of space and domino effect, we would have no gas.
All right, good inquiry. I have 2 points to make on that comment, yes. The first is that cold does not directly imply it facilitates, right? So you can have a solid brick that is inside liquid nitrogen, or actually you could heat it up. You could have a solid brick that is heated up with lava, right? And it will still be more dense than something colder than it.
But now you're talking about solids. You're not talking about. You're talking.
Right. So my first point is just saying that.
I just wanted to
No, my first point is just saying that Something cold does not directly imply how dense it is. It facilitates it. But my second point is also to say, just because something is more hot on the outside, mass attracts mass, there's no more mass out there, the hottest stuff will have to go towards the middle.
So why are smoke detectors on the ceiling?
Because the first point.
Oh, so you're contradicting yourself. Now you're saying that hotter is denser, so it will attract to the center, but simultaneously hotter is less dense, so it will rise up.
An item can be colder than another and still be less dense. And vice versa. An item can be hotter than another and still be more dense.
Gas.
I showed you with it's not. No, it's not circular reasoning.
Yeah,
it's a clear end and is perfectly provable by that example I showed you.
No. Except for it's not talking about the actual environment that we observe in this earth.
It is.
No, you're talking about one specific thing. We're talking about the atmosphere and what happens to it against 10 to the negative 17 torr environment with no physical barrier. And you're still trying to make it a false equivalence with these experiments that show that, yeah, sure, some things when they get hot, they don't overcome the forces of the medium and whatever's going on. Yeah,
some things, all things, but yes.
Some things do, some things don't, just like you said. It's
all
not what we're talking about. We are not talking about specific experiments that could show variance in all kinds of materials. We are talking about the environment that claims to be a globe with an atmosphere. And you're trying to wander off into, other points. But how about the specific point of atmosphere against 10 to the negative 17 torr?
All right, I do.
You want to argue gravity, but not.
Just no.
Mass attracting mass infers gravity. So please stop with these little games. They're
not little games. No, they're not.
Yes,
they're pure points made it down to the statement.
Don't worry.
We can't talk about gravity unless you can demonstrate.
I'm not even talking about gravity. That's the thing. I do see where you guys can. I want to clarify how it's not a false comparison.
Okay.
But you used gravity as the example for why we can have gas pressure without containment.
I apologize. One second. My electricity went out for a second. I didn't hear what you said.
I said that you were the one that invoked gravity because you used that to explain why we can have gas pressure without containment.
So we need a demonstration of gravity, and we need a demonstration of, once you do that, then we need a demonstration of it affecting gas molecules.
Okay, so just a demonstration of what we call gravity, right? Not mass attracts mass.
No, mass attracts mass is inferring gravity. If you Google mass attracting mass, Newton's law of universal gravitation states that every point of mass in the universe attracts every other point of mass with a force that is directly proportional to the product of their masses. You're talking about gravity.
That's not a definition, that's a statement. But yes, I disagree with the fact of gravity.
Would you quit talking?
Yeah, you're talking about gravity. I don't know if we can actually move on until we get him to concede. When you're talking about mass attracting mass, you're inferring the force of gravity.
We can answer the question without talking about gravity, actually.
You're inferring the outdated force of gravity.
Right, I want to explain how it's not a poor comparison, right? Because I do see how you can think that.
Well, if you want to talk about it without invoking gravity and without talking about gravity, then continue to explain. Then continue to explain. What is it? A 50 torr pressure adjacent to the negative 17 torr pressure without a container. Then do that.
Yes, please.
Perfect. Do. Yeah. Well, that end stuff was jargon. I couldn't understand it because I'm not familiar with it. But yes, I can't explain this. So in your argument, right? I do understand it completely, right? Let me make sure I'm understanding it fully and tell me if I'm wrong, right? So you guys are saying that
it's not what we're saying, it's what your model claims.
I just want to make sure I understand what you're saying about the atmosphere, right?
Right.
How okay.
Adjacent to a 10 to the negative 17 torr pressure, which is a near perfect vacuum without a container.
All right, so tell me if I'm wrong. Let me make sure I understand. You're saying that because the layer of atmosphere below the outer layer is hotter than the one on top, it should be above it.
No, because it's
No.
it's a pressure.
Oh.
It's about a 50 torr pressure, and the other layer is a 10 to the negative 17 torr pressure, and they're claiming there's no container. Demonstrate that's possible.
Okay, so you said that the second layer has more pressure than the first.
No, you can't have. Okay, let's have him read the definition of gas pressure. This guy is
I
so
know.
squirrely.
Do you need me to tell you, ask you the question again? Because I thought you understood. That's why you invoked gravity, mass attracting mass, and then we went on this whole tangent for how many minutes now?
No.
It's like you don't even understand the question. Like, what is happening?
If time's an issue, is time really an issue here? I can go if you want, but
No, I'm saying it's just like if you didn't understand the question, why did we go on that? You should have just said you didn't understand the question at the beginning. Do you see what I'm saying? Because now it's like you don't understand what we're talking about.
misunderstandings are easy to come across, especially in a debate. So I'm making sure I'm understanding your point clearly before I refute it.
This is not a debate, though. Hang on.
Okay, a casual discussion. You're right.
No, hang
You're
on.
right.
I'm talking. Can you seriously?
No, you're right. You're right. It's not a debate.
Still not. Okay, yeah, it's not a debate. These are asking you questions, right?
It's a casual discussion.
Why are you talking over me?
Quit it.
My gosh, enough. Okay?
Just trying.
Stop. Seriously, thank you, whoever muted him. Okay, so these are 3 questions, right? If you didn't understand the question, you should have asked for us to, maybe reiterate it for you instead of going on this tangent for how long. That's what I was getting at. These are simple questions, positive claims made by the model that you follow. If you don't know the answer, that's okay. We had this discussion from the beginning.
Okay, I'm gonna unmute you so that you can respond to. So was the question clarified to you? Can you demonstrate gas pressure adjacent to a 10 to the negative 17 torr pressure without a container? That's the question.
There we are. I do want to mention my lag issue, by the way. I have a constant 300 ping, which means I'm almost half a second delayed. So if I end up overstepping at the ends, for sure, I apologize, but that's not what I hear on my end.
It's not at the ends. It's in the middle and everywhere. But thanks for that. Continue. Did you get the question? The third
Just
question.
keep in mind that I do have a lag problem. It is hard to have a productive conversation with unfair rules.
Dude, can we just stop talking about
It's your house, right? So you can be rude to me and I can't be to you. It's okay, but it's hard to have a productive conversation. Listen. If interrupting's rude, you're able to be rude and I'm not. It's hard to have a productive conversation with unfair rules, but I'll go along with it.
My goodness. Can we? I guess it's just too hard, to answer the question.
Which specifically, you've asked about 3 at this point.
Okay,
well, and the first 2 you said you didn't know. So yeah, do you understand?
No. I said I didn't know parts to each question, right? You asked who, where, and when. I don't know 2 of the 3, right? So if you say you don't know, you're implying all 3. That's not true.
Okay. Well, do you know for the third question?
Yes, I explained how for both questions.
Okay, we're talking about
in my own
question.
way.
No, you're talking. Okay, the first 2 questions you did admit that you did not know, right? You conceded to
No. The first.
You did, bud. Seriously, do you not listen to the word?
I don't know 2 of the 3 things in each question, not the whole question. When you say you don't know, you imply who, where, and when. I know how.
Okay, well let's get this back on track here. Okay, I'm going to repeat the question one last time.
All right.
You can tell me if you understand it, and then you can address it. Can you demonstrate a 10 to the negative 17 torr pressure adjacent to 50 torr without a container?
All right, so that's the original question, right? You cannot do it without a container on Earth, and you can do it without a container outside of Earth. And the reason why you can't do it without a container on Earth is because mass attracts mass. Now, if you want to get to the details of that, we can talk about it, which is where we went with the discussion, talking about density, eventually getting onto the example of atmosphere. That's how we got there, the logical train of thought.
Okay.
Where do you do it?
Can we go on?
Where does he do it not on Earth? Where is this demonstrated not on Earth?
Space stations. I told you.
Oh,
I told you space stations.
So wait a second. You have to
get to space. Yes.
You have to be in a closed. You have to be in a closed, contained system with pressurized gas. Why can't you just remove the space station?
If you
And
want to
show
get into
us-
the details, right? We
No,
can go back to the.
The details are saying that if you didn't have the fucking space station around the experiment they're doing, it would go into the vacuum. They have to have a contained place with pressurized gas. Okay? It's BS. I've posted the definite. I'm going to post it again. This is the definition of gas pressure. Can you
All right, let
please
me
read
see.
it aloud for the panel?
Yeah, I'll read it. Don't worry.
Thank you.
And you just said panel when you said it's not a debate, and it isn't. It's a casual
Well,
discussion.
it's a panel. It's a panel. There's
It's a group of people. It's all right. It's just semantics. Okay,
Oh,
where's the definition? Yeah, it's just semantics.
Posted at 4. Let's go back to the definition. Settle down.
Where is it?
So, Mrs. Musk posted it at 44 minutes past the hour in the voice text.
Posting it again. Don't 444. Just please read it.
Yes, please read that out loud for us.
All right. Gas pressure is the force of the gas particles colliding with the walls of its container.
Great. So we have gas pressure here on Earth. You can measure it with a barometer. And the definition clarifies very specifically that you need walls of a container. Walls. Okay? Mass attracting mass, not a physical object with walls. Walls infers some kind of containment.
If
So you
you're
need some kind of
asking,
containment to have gas pressure. It's in the definition you just read out loud.
whether like how the space station has gas pressure, right? To accurately simulate
not
a
what
vacuum.
We're asking about how Earth, uncontained Earth, has gas pressure. And also, it's exposed to a vacuum. But the main point is, Earth is uncontained. There's no physical, if there was a physical barrier around Earth, then the people that you're saying are going to the space station and going to Mars and the moon and stuff. Well, there can't be a physical barrier if they're leaving that place, if they're leaving this place. But we can't have gas pressure without a physical
All right.
barrier.
So what's
they're
the
the
difference between a container and a solid object?
A container is a solid object.
Exactly, right? So why can't you just say, right, do you think that you can throw a solid object in space without it imploding or such? A solid
What does that
object.
have to do- hold up. What does that have to do with the question at hand? Now you're talking
With the
about
question,
solid
this
objects,
has
and we're
to do-
talking about gas pressure, and you need a container.
If you want to know what this has to do with the question, it has to do with the question because the Earth is able to sustain its pressure without being in a container because it is the container. A solid object is a container. There's no difference between them. The Earth
The
is a
solid
solid
object is outside of the atmosphere. There is a solid part of this sphere that's outside the atmosphere that we still don't know.
The sphere
is there.
itself.
It can go through it with a rocket. Stop. You're telling me that I have to imagine there is a container and that's the way this works. But then you say a minute later that we can go with rockets through this said solid object.
Can I ask a
I'm
question?
not. Yeah.
Okay, so if you take an experiment in a container up to the space station to prove that you can have gas pressure next to a vacuum inside the space station, what happens if you take that container outside the space station and open it?
The same thing as it would be if the container was just in the vacuum of space already. The Earth is a perfect example. You don't need to go to the space station to find this out, right? So if you have a solid 50-pound ball of steel and then a 50-pound, if you have a ball of, right. So if you have a ball just the same size, right, but it's a container, it's filled with air. There is no difference between them.
Is the
theoretically.
globe filled with air?
Yes,
You saying the globe is a solid container filled with air because that's what you are trying to make an equivalence with, and that is not
globe
even
is
logical.
The
Do you
globe is a solid
understand?
object.
We got an Easter egg
No.
Earther in the building.
The atmosphere is not
It's
solid.
constantly changing, like the makeup.
I'm not changing
from gas
anything.
to liquid to containment to solid. It's just like my
Do we live on the
goodness.
inside of Earth?
If you guys are having,
You know, we don't have the problem you do. That's the problem here. You're trying to now say, stop. You just said, get a steel container filled with air. Is that Earth? Is that way the Earth looks? Or even is anywhere close to Earth?
listen, I need to address your comments, right?
No, you need to answer these questions that you're making an equivalence. You made these arguments.
Properly. I'm
You
answering the
just said
question.
that it is a steel ball filled with air. Are you trying to tell me that I'm now supposed to think the globe model is a steel ball, like a steel ball, filled with air?
I need you to listen to me if we're going to talk.
We
right?
have listened
don't be
to you.
condescending.
No, it's not condescending. It's not condescending. We can't talk without you listening. It's not condescending in any way.
Yes.
Yes, it is. If we're going to talk, if you're going to if we're going to talk.
Stop.
No, okay.
You have talked through people the entire time, and then you make a false jump again and expect us to sit here and listen to you say, hey, it's a steel container with air in it. That's Earth.
Listen, if you guys perceive me jumping in between your conversations, that's not my fault. On my end, I am not. And I apologize if I am. I'm trying to have a productive conversation here. And if you guys are misunderstanding my analogies, which are perfectly coherent if you listen to them,
no.
We'd get somewhere.
Why do we need an analogy? We need proof. We don't need an analogy. What is happening here? Just
listen. Analogy.
Provide
proof.
proof.
Right there. We don't understand because we're not listening. We are listening.
No, you're not.
You're going to sit there and say that we're not listening and we don't understand because we're not listening. That is highly narcissistic.
That's not what I'm.
That's not what I'm listening for the last hour. But you're making false equivalence.
Is time an issue?
Okay, let's clear this up. Let's clear this up once and for all.
If it's not an issue.
Did you or did you not say that the Earth is equivalent to a metal ball with air inside the metal ball?
No, not inside.
You didn't. What? Okay, so we both agree. We both agree that in the heliocentric model, it's a sphere that's a rock surrounded by air on the outside, right? Right?
I wouldn't differentiate rock and air. They're both the same object. It's just an object floating inside a vacuum of space, which is possible.
There's gas. There's supposedly a sphere of gas around a solid object floating in space. So kind of the opposite of what you said.
The analogy will work with.
So we go back. So we got a solid surrounded by a sphere of gas, a soup of gases. Okay. But we went to the definition of gas pressure and it says it needs a physical container. Physical container. But we have an uncontained soup of gases surrounding the rock in space.
Can an object not contain itself? Is that not what a container is?
Well,
is a gas
you need a container. Containment. That's like the right. What that doesn't.
There's nothing inside the Earth to contain. It's a solid object. It can contain itself, especially in a vacuum, such like space.
What?
Okay, we're talking about the gas in the atmosphere. We're not talking about the Earth containing itself. What are you on about? Right? We're talking about. Do you want the question one more time? No, I'm still talking. Stop interrupting me, frick! Seriously, bud. Like.
Goodness gracious.
Yes, exactly. Goodness gracious. Now, should we just maybe do one more time? Repeat the question for you, and if you go on another, off on some other thing about solids and whatever, then. If you can't answer the question, then what are we doing here, right?
Right.
So do you want me to ask it one more time? And can you just give an honest answer and we'll try one more time?
For sure.
Okay.
I've been nothing but honest this whole time. And it's not a time.
Your credibility falls short considering I've caught you in a lie multiple times. Things that you haven't said. But anyways, stop it. Okay.
You can't be productive with that.
Be quiet and listen. Be quiet and listen for just a moment.
You're interrupting me, and that's totally fine because it's your house. But just know that you're a dick.
Her, so I'm telling you to be quiet. Let her finish, and then when she gives you a blank space. and you hear that gap that you keep claiming that you're having, that's your turn. Just wait till somebody has a gap.
That's what I have done this whole time. Yes.
No, you have not. Now be quiet.
If it doesn't happen on your end, it's not my fault. I apologize.
Ask the question. Just let her ask the question and then address her question.
Man, screw ping, dude. It makes conversation so hard when people think you're interrupting them.
Well,
You were. Damsel Medic was.
Ask your question.
Okay.
My question or her
No,
question?
my question. I will ask you the question. Okay. So, if the vacuum of space is a medium they tell us that we can travel to, and it is the way that they say it is, how can we, being in a pressurized system, exist next to a near perfect vacuum without containment? So basically, how can we have a pressurized system without a container?
It's identical and equal to dropping a steel ball in a pool of liquid. That's my whole analogy. And if you guys claim to not understand that, I'm willing to explain it further.
How is dropping a steel ball in a liquid, which is not even the same medium as a vacuum, right? We're talking about gas pressure and a vacuum. We're not talking about a solid object in a body of water. In a different medium.
We got nutty clip material here.
Yeah, this is
How is that
something
not
else.
equivalent? Guys, can you explain it to me?
Howard, I just did. They're different mediums. How can you compare different things? They don't even. You even said before. You already conceded that you needed a container for gas
Not true.
pressure,
Don't assume
right?
things about my
You
premise.
did say that. Like, do you want to go back and listen to our whole conversation about this?
Let me. Can I just make a point real quick?
For sure.
What is holding the water? What is holding the water that you just dropped that steel ball into?
It doesn't need to hold anything. It could be out in space in a vacuum. It's just representative of an entity with a certain density.
Whoa.
But you have no proof. You have no proof that this steel ball.
Oh man.
Without containment, you can't even prove that.
Okay,
now
you
say that if we don't understand the analogy, then what? How did you say that? What did you say exactly?
I said straw man. Yes, because this is derailing.
No, that's not.
No, yeah, you are derailing. That's correct. You are derailing it, right? Because you're not actually answering the question. So
Feel free to laugh, and that's what you guys are doing because you're avoiding questions and interactions.
Isn't this the pot calling the kettle black? My gosh, you've been diverting the question for like half an hour. You can't even give an answer. But you did give an answer, and then you invoked gravity. We went through all that. It's just like, okay, so can you just concede that, gas pressure needs containment? Like it needs a physical barrier.
We're not going to get conceded.
We're going to try. I'm going to try. I'm going to try. Right? He already conceded it once. He can do it again. I got hope.
Listen to me. I am an open-minded person. I will concede if there feels the need to. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, and I'm willing to admit that.
Okay.
That's how civil discussions.
Does your mind and your brain have a container, perhaps, or is that just doesn't need a container? You can just drop that into
don't
a body of water.
You do admit it's.
We don't understand is an ad hominem.
It's 100% is. Don't do
I was
personally.
just using an analogy. I was using. It wasn't. Did I insult you? I just asked you a question. I didn't say anything rude to you.
That's called being a victim. Don't act a victim. Hey, you're the one insulting.
You're the one acting the victim. This is like the pot.
Okay, for you. This is so many narcissistic tactics. I can't even.
There isn't any sort of tactics. I'm answering all of your questions to the best of my ability.
Yeah. Okay. So here we go then. I asked you the question. You gave an answer that had nothing to do with the question.
100% equivalence, perfect analogy. Disapprove this.
Water is nowhere near the same as a
Listen, your obligation is to disprove my analogy.
I'm not
tear it apart. Open it up. I dare you to tear it apart because you can't.
Okay.
Do it.
No, the only thing tearing apart is your asshole, and we already went through this. We already went through
Oh,
it.
it doesn't sound like it because all you guys can do is go back to strawman arguments.
Destroyed.
How is it a not equivalent C?
You have yet to disprove my analogy.
We're talking about gas pressure in a vacuum. A vacuum is really low pressure, okay? Water,
lowest.
water
Yes, the lowest pressure possible.
higher pressure. Water actually has higher pressure, okay? So you're using a medium that's actually the opposite of what we're talking about, okay? You already know that you're in a corner, that you've been checkmated.
No, it's not. I don't know because I'm not. Don't make assumptions about my
Yeah,
position.
you've been checkmated, dude.
No, I have not. Listen,
A narcissist will never.
They will never admit. They will never admit. They will always say that they have got you.
I'm a narcissist. I'll admit I'm a narcissist if I am. You understand that, right?
Okay.
If I have if I go to a doctor and diagnose me with narcissism,
Yeah.
I will make it public and I will
I
show
went to
it.
college for behavioral science. I can actually diagnose you with narcissism. So you got it,
Okay.
bro.
Goodness
You got it.
gracious.
You actually do.
Demons
You're
That-
so competent.
Steel ball
You cannot deny is ad hominem or not. You cannot deny
You know what, Truth? Yeah, you know what, Truth? Let's get some. Let's get
It's
him
called
to-
truth.
yeah.
This is so funny now.
Explain to us how a steel ball dropped in water is equivalent to gas pressure without a container, like the atmosphere next to it and 10 to the negative 17 torque pressure without a container. Explain how a steel ball dropped in water demonstrates that.
Right.
Because there's no gas pressure in either. The steel ball is not gas pressure.
Where's
is
your-
not
where's your-
gas. What the fuck
Right,
does
and-
that have to do with either?
And
Please
where's your
explain.
citation
We'll
on
give you
that?
the floor. Okay, we'll give him the floor. Nobody interrupt. We don't want him to get upset. Go for it, MP Door.
I
Explain.
appreciate that. I haven't been upset
Of
yet. I'm just
course.
disappointed at the unproductive conversation.
Okay,
Of course
shh,
you're
just- you don't have to comment on everything. Just
No,
explain.
no, I will only comment on unproductive behavior like ad hominems.
Oh, you know what an ad hominem is. Give the
Give me the
definition.
floor. Give me the floor.
Just explain it. Explain how steel ball dropped in
I'll-
water
I'll
is equivalent to
explain it.
gas pressure without a container.
It's an equivalent analogy because it's a ratio, right? 16 is 16 to 4 is a ratio of 4, right? Now listen, this relates to what I'm talking about because the vacuum is the
Well, we're just gonna let him talk. No, let him go. Let him go.
Let him go.
Yep. Shh. Please go, MP Door. Sorry, you have the floor.
Thank you.
The laugh.
Okay. I'm drawing a blank right now for the atmosphere. What is it called? Space? A vacuum. That's what it was. I completely brain farted right there.
Gas.
A vacuum.
Negative
of
10 to the negative 17 torque pressure without a container. Go.
A vacuum, by definition, is the least pressured thing. That's what it is. It has no pressure. It's a vacuum, right? At its absolute, it's absolute zero vacuum, right? So what I was talking about with ratios, 4 to 16 is a ratio of 4, right? This analogy is equivalent because water representing a vacuum, solid ball steel representing the object that is Earth, inside that entity right there. It's an equivalent ratio. That's why that analogy
Okay, I have to
fits.
stop you for a second because I've got to ask this. I have to know. Okay, one, we're not talking about ratios, right? We're not demonstrating ratios.
Yes, we are.
We're demonstrating gas. We're talking about gas. That's the topic. That's the focus. So how is water analogous to gas?
No, water's analogous to a vacuum.
No.
It's exact fucking opposite.
Someone
I'll explain. Listen, if you could include this, if you clip it,
We
include
can
this.
hear this. It's going to make a great clip.
So we
yeah, let's
say that again.
Hear this. Okay. Comment beforehand. You clip this without this part, it's out of context. Now,
Oh, we'll get it all. Don't worry.
Oh, don't worry.
all right.
you don't worry about that. Just
I
talk.
don't mind
Tell
being
us your
clipped anyway.
I know you keep telling us what to do, but go ahead.
I'm not telling you to do anything.
See, you can't even just move on. Just go.
Hang on. Let's.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, let's not drag it out and draw it out and give him like room or whatever, a reason to go on about it. Right? Let's just stick him to it. So just tell us how. Can you repeat what you said and then explain? How
Yes.
that's the case?
How water. You wanted to know how water is analogous to space because you feel my analogy is false. Water is analogous to space or a vacuum in terms of pressure, right? Water has more pressure than space because space has no pressure by definition. So if you just multiply that by however much pressure water has, it's a perfect analogy in terms of ratio. That explains
so
everything.
pressure equals non-pressure?
What?
No.
Did you just hear what you said?
What?
Like that doesn't make any
One more
logical
time.
sense.
I want to hear that very clearly, girls. Let's let him say it.
It's not the same. but it
Exactly
is.
the same again. Say it one more
Yeah,
time. So
say
we
that
have it
one more time.
totally
Maybe we
clear.
didn't catch it. Yeah, exactly. Say it one more
can-
time because I don't think I caught it.
Right? Okay.
Yeah.
The vacuum of space has no pressure, right? In its definition. Yes?
Right. Well, a near perfect vacuum, yes. To the what is it? 10 to the negative 17 torr, yes.
Right. So the only way to represent what you're asking is to do it on Earth, right? So there'll be
That is
water
correct.
in a
That's
yes. So-
correct. Yes.
Exactly.
Perfect.
So
Continue.
Exactly. So, and this analogy is a ratio, right? The ratio of 4 to 16 is 4, right? Because it's that, right? So if you're going to make an analogy that doesn't include the vacuum of space, you need something to represent the vacuum of space, and that will be water in this space, in this one. You understand how that can work, right?
No, this is some.
No, I don't think you do because you admitted the pressures were different though. So how can it be? How can you use that as a representation to
The numbers.
explain that though? Like
the numbers
okay,
zero.
okay, hold on. I'll play along. I'll play along for 2 seconds. Okay, so I dropped the ball in the water. Okay, but where is the gases? Where is the gas in this analogy that you have? Because that's what we're talking about, right? So gas pressure without containment. So you got the steel ball, which I think represents the Earth. Is that what you're saying? And you got the water. Perfect. Okay, I'm following. The water deals with the vacuum.
No,
of
it's
space,
a
right?
vacuum.
Even though
It's a vacuum in its essence, just multiplied times however much density it has.
okay, I'm playing along. So where is the gas pressure in this now? Like explain that. Go with that.
Right. So gas pressure comes from mass attracts mass. So don't interrupt, please. Say the atmosphere is represented by a fine powdery mist of metal, and the steel ball was actually a magnet. Right? Pretend they're attracting each other. Right? There would be a pressure inside that layer of metal, the flaky metal that's on the outside. There would be a pressure. That pressure comes from mass attracts mass, and that's why I was getting into that in the first place. There you go. Everything explained in the most simple possible way.
What in the?
You do know. You do know that gravity is not described as magnetism first. That there is
It's attraction. It's
Stop!
magnetism.
Don't interrupt me. I didn't interrupt you. Let you go on about magnetism now around some ball that dropped through some liquid that doesn't even behave with the same laws of gas.
You're right. I interrupted you on that one. Thank you for calling me out on it. It was uncivil.
Can I add to this? To what
You
this
are
is saying?
talking. No. You are talking completely about math. You're just giving us math equations of it's calculated to be the same ratio, so then it's an equivalency. But the thing is, we're not talking about the math or the equation or that. We are talking about the behavior of gas, the behavior of your so-called gravity, the behavior of your so-called globe model, which you seem to not understand it very well because you are claiming gravity is now like magnetism. You're jumping to now it's not just mass attracts mass, which you are behind the times, and we've told you that, yet you keep referring back to it. But now it's magnetism. You switch an entirely different subject again.
Listen to me carefully.
No, I'm not.
No, listen to me. Listen to me.
Listen to this
I'm not going to
again.
be told to be listening to you again. We've been listening to you this entire time. We gave you plenty of rope to hang yourself. And you actually hung yourself here on all these points that I just made. You either address those points and tell me how those are the same as liquid is the same as gas. You express to me how you can do that. You express to me how gravity is now magnetism. Because these are the claims you just made very clearly that we gave you space for. Don't interrupt me. Don't interrupt me. And you used a math equation, a comparison between ratios to argue this point that has nothing to do with about ratios and math. It actually has to do with gas laws. And the second law of thermodynamics, which you don't seem to understand, but you did the very beginning of the hour ago, you admitted that the second law of thermodynamics required a container. You did that. We got you on record. And now it suddenly doesn't seem to calculate in this whole thing that you've made and conjectured and put together. And then you call it us thinking that you are not making a false equivalency when you are absolutely making a false equivalency because we aren't talking calculations here. We're not talking math ratios.
I need 1 minute to reply to that comment.
Oh, I'd love to hear it.
Listen, I have claimed nothing about gravity this whole discussion. 1.
A lie.
2,
Stop it. No. Hold on. I'm not letting you get away with this anymore. I'm sick and tired of this. You did invoke gravity numerous times. Mass attracting mass. Mrs. Musk went over that with you, told you that that's not Einsteinian gravity. It's replaced by Newtonian gravity, right? And then you invoked it again after you said that you didn't, right? Okay, so you can unmute him. What does he have to say to that?
May I speak?
Yeah, you're unmuted. Go for it.
All right. I don't claim that mass attracting mass is anything to do with gravity. I just know that mass does attract mass. I don't know what people would call it. The scientific community might call it gravity, but mass doesn't. This is a whole different
So
subject.
are you making up your own definitions then? Like
No.
I don't even know what to say.
Give me a minute. Give me a minute.
No, we don't. No.
Only making observations.
How many minutes?
I don't want to give you any more minutes.
I haven't had a minute.
Please go ahead and provide.
I haven't had a minute. Don't interrupt. I haven't.
We need
That's
two
not
things from you. We need 2 things from you. Okay? If we're going to talk about mass attracting mass. 1,
Perfect.
please provide a academic source for what you're talking about. 2, provide a demonstration that we can do ourselves to demonstrate mass attracting mass. So please do both of those things. First, provide a citation. Because you're not making any sense. So just give us an academic
not your explanation.
Don't talk. This first step requires no talking. Okay? So type away and post your citation in the chat, please.
Listen to me. I don't have time to look up citations. I've been here long enough. I'd like to end it here. Thank you so much for your productive conversation.
No, please. Hey, hold on. Hang on here.
Let him go if he wants to go.
Yeah.
He's making pointless claims.
No, Witsit wants to talk to him. Let him go.
Let him go.
stay. Don't let him go. Yeah, he has to
All
stay.
right, hey, bro. So you understand they're explaining the second law of thermodynamics to you?
I don't know what that is.
Okay, so the second law of thermodynamics, systems spontaneously seek equilibrium, right? So high pressure goes to low pressure, heat goes to cold. So if I have a soda and it has a higher pressure, that's why it's carbonated and fresh, and I open it up and it goes, psh, it instantly equalizes to the lower pressure around it, right?
All right, yes.
Okay, that's the second law of thermodynamics. According to the second law of thermodynamics, you could not have a pressurized system sitting next to a near perfect vacuum of 10 to the negative 17 torr without some physical containment, because the high pressure would instantaneously fill the vacuum, right? Just like the soda. So what they're asking you is, how can you think the Earth's a spinning magic cartoon ball in a vacuum if we have a pressurized system on the Earth? How's it sitting next to the vacuum if the second law dictates that the pressure will immediately fill the vacuum?
Exactly. Yes. So that's a good inquiry.
Did this before. We did this an hour ago where he did the exact same thing.
Yeah. I said.
Just let him answer, man. Go ahead.
I said exactly, because that's exactly the good inquiry that I mentioned before that you guys said. You guys asked me this an hour ago.
Specifically, answer the question. Just answer the question. How can you have the pressure next to the vacuum? Answer.
A way to prove this is by dropping a steel ball into water.
No.
Listen, that's not what I asked you. Okay.
What are you looking for, man?
Listen, water is literally so incredibly dumb as to pretend it's analogous to a vacuum. Okay, water's more dense than air. We're talking about how the air that we breathe is more dense than the vacuum. To go all the way to water is beyond elementary. So I'm going to ask you again. I'm going to need you to answer, not bring up fairy tales about balls in water. Okay, how do you have the pressure sitting next to the vacuum without the pressure filling the vacuum? What keeps the pressure from filling the vacuum?
Do you want me to provide an example of an experiment with the atmosphere and space itself?
No, what I want you to do is answer the question. What's preventing the pressure from filling the vacuum?
I'm saying unless your answer has to be directly with the atmosphere and space, it needs to be an analogy, right? Do you agree?
Again, what is preventing the pressure? No, your model has to have an answer, okay? Your model does have an answer, and you need to say it. Own up to your model like a big boy. I've watched them. They're dragging you around, and you don't even realize that they're dismantling you. So we're going to go straight to the chase. No, that's not an ad hom. That's an objective recollection of events that I've lost IQ points listening to for 20 minutes. So what we're going to do is have you answer the question, Mr. Fallacy. Since you know how fallacies work, you know what a non sequitur red herring fallacy is, right? So you're committing a red herring fallacy on over and over and over. So
let's just get to the question you asked, right?
A red herring fallacy is whenever you pretend that it's somehow related to what we are asking, but in fact it is not. It's a non sequitur.
That's called an argument.
You're not going to interrupt me like you did the females. So
I
how
didn't.
do you have the pressure sitting next to the vacuum? You need to answer the question. What keeps the pressure from filling the vacuum in your globe Earth model?
The fact that it can act as its independent entity. The object itself, the steel ball in my analogy.
Oh, the steel ball. We're talking about the atmosphere. Okay, so there's gas pressure sitting next to a vacuum. What prevents the gas pressure from filling the vacuum in your model?
Don't use your analogy. Just answer the question. It's really simple. Just answer it. Go for it.
You do understand that an analogy is an answer.
Answer the question without your freaking analogy.
Do you want me to answer it by showing you the atmosphere and space itself?
No. What I want you to do is to actually understand your religion before you pretend you know it's real. Okay?
I have no religion.
I'm still talking, bud. I know you're a Gamma. Get it? I already gave you the Secret King role. You're gonna stop interrupting me. Okay? So your religion has an answer, and if you're supposedly so intellectual, you understand fallacies, then you understand.
Intellectual.
You need to defend this model. Okay? Your model has an answer, so you're gonna need to answer the question. Stop bringing up water. You sound dumb. How do you have pressure sitting next to the vacuum? Your model has an. So, what keeps the pressure from filling the vacuum according to your model?
Guys, there's not a single sentence answer to this. The only way to prove this is
through word. There's a single word. Okay, I debate astrophysics. Listen, my man. Listen, I debate astrophysics professor, and they would make fun of you right now. Okay, there's a single word that is an answer for your side. Listen, bud.
I'm listening.
Model, since you're such a Gamma, you can't do it. I'm going to answer for you, okay? So according to your model, the answer is gravity. So when I said, what prevents the pressure from filling the vacuum in your model, your answer has to be gravity. Do you agree?
Gravity holds an entity together, yes.
Okay, so gravity's keeping the pressure from going into the vacuum.
It can act as its own entity because of gravity. If you want to call gravity mass attracting mass, but I don't call it that.
Okay, stop. No one calls it that. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to give you yes or no questions, and that means your answer needs to be yes or no. Okay? In your model, is gravity keeping the pressure from going into the vacuum?
Yes or no?
It's a syntax error, but okay.
Oh
it is a syntax, but
yes
or
no. Yes or no.
Brain is breaking.
No, if you
you're
want to,
making narcissistic ways of
No.
behavior here because you won't answer a specific question. Answer it.
Hang on.
I don't.
Okay, we're letting him diverge.
Please
Okay.
don't assume.
Listen, can you? I'm going to put you on mute, and you can just hang around and wait till later. And I hope that you do. I love you, and that's why I didn't say anything. But I really hope that you stick around. I hope MP Door sticks around. But it is ladies' night. We will move on to someone else, and you can just like. That's why I let you go on, because it's like I just wanted to hear it. I know it's ladies'
True.
night,
But
but
we did do it.
He's just going to go in circles, though. I know where it's going to go from here, and I don't want to take up any more of ladies' night to listen to him go around in circles with you like he did with us, because that's what he's going to do. But please do hang around, MP Door, and Witz, I hope you hang around because I do want to listen to this after ladies' night.
So I just don't understand how the pressure of water equates to non-pressure of vacuum.
It doesn't.
You didn't hear his explanation? My goodness.
I mean,
how did you
my
not
God.
understand that?
Come on, a steel ball dropping in
My
water.
God.
Water is equivalent.
And it's like 16 divided by 4 times 4, right?
But
we had the
Yaman in
explanation.
here. We do have Yaman in here that was wanting to talk, so we'll.
Yeah.
Oh, if someone wants to, like, I don't know, I guess maybe he might have a question or something, and if he does it, then maybe if someone wants to take him to the 3 points or whatever, first we need to find out where he stands.
All right. Yeah, I do have here. Listen, the flat Earth is a circle, and the toilet flushes in a circle. So are the sun and the moon. Therefore, they are all connected, and that proves the Earth is a globe.
Wow, you waited all that time to say that? That's really...
Fuck you, fat ass. Go suck a dick, you dumb bitch. Suck
Holy. What a life, hey? Waited all that time to say that? What a sad existence on a spinning ball.
Let's just move on to the next
He left.
week.
True.
Oh,
You're
he's
so
banned.
intelligent for making that happen there. Boy, that made you look really bright. Ah.
I need a massage after this, guys. I don't know about you. I know, like, oh, the tension. Oh my gosh.
Wow. That was just...
Yeah.
Hey,
Well,
the
and I do
toilet's
think
in the
for,
other way on the other side of the equator.
What about the equator? I think that was complete self. What's up?
Yeah. I was just adding to that comment. The toilets spin the other way, south of the equator.
Are you serious?
Seriously?
Or are you
I'm not
joking?
serious. Water? Yeah. No, I'm serious. Water spins. Water spins a certain direction on the north side of the equator, and then on the south side of the equator, it spins the other way.
And this proves the globe?
Oh no, I was just adding to the comment.
What do you think it's a globe?
As far as what I think, I haven't looked at it for myself, so normally I try not to.
How do you know that water flushes one way versus another way? Did you call up your friend and confirm this?
No, I did this myself. Scientifically, it's known. You know.
Really?
Yeah,
You took a shit and you watched the water go one way, and then you went to another country
Many
and you
people
took
do.
another shit and you watched the water go another way.
Well, that time I didn't take a shit. That time I was just, letting the water run down. Yeah.
So
how does that
so
prove
do you-
anything?
Yeah.
I was
Doesn't.
just
It
adding
could be.
to
What if it's just the different types of plumbing in the places you were staying?
Oh no, because it wasn't in plumbing. It was just water running down. Like draining.
Okay, we're not talking about this. Do you think the Earth is
Yeah,
a globe?
let's
Yes or no? I think you probably do, based on your comment.
If it's a globe, I think it's neither round or flat.
Okay, what evidence do you have that it's not a globe?
That it's not a globe, because you could get a level, measuring utensil. It's called the level, and then if you place it on a flat surface, it's gonna be flat. Therefore, if it was a globe, then we wouldn't be able to measure that. Maybe, I don't know.
Okay, it sounds like he's got a bunch of assumptions and ideas and beliefs. So maybe you want to go to the 3 points with him.
Wait, if I
another
put a
one.
level, if
Another
I put a
one.
level on a table, it'll tell me the shape of the Earth. Is that what you're saying, my dude?
What I'm saying is, through the utensils that we have to measure, I guess you could say, damn, I don't even know, honestly. I'm just trying to see what you guys think. You putting me on the spot here.
Well, you spoke up, so you kind of put yourself on the spot.
I was just adding to the comment. That's it. I try neither to take a position whether it's flat or round. I try to listen to both sides, and then with whatever I think is, resonates, I'll add it to what I think, and therefore I could get closer to my conclusion. Because the only way we could really know is if we go outside of space and look at it with our own eyes, and even then it'll just be our perspective.
So
Okay.
how do you see the Earth? What does to you when you look at the Earth? What do you see? Do you see the Earth as a sphere, or do you see it as flat and stationary?
Well, that's the funny part. None of us here, I don't think, have gone up out of space and actually looked at the Earth.
I'm not asking you about the second law of thermodynamics violation. I'm asking you about the Earth, walking on the Earth, looking at the Earth, practically using the Earth. How do you see it? Objectively, how does it present itself to you?
As what one makes of it. You know, as for like, right now I see a small little square called the tablet that I'm holding on my hand, but yet I'm speaking to you, and
But we're talking
and
about the
that,
Earth,
that's
not
what
the tablet, dude.
well,
What is
the
in
Earth.
your viewpoint? Is the Earth spherical or is it flat and stationary? Pick one.
You asked me how I view it. That's how I view it. Like, I mean, I'd have to literally go outside and view it. I've never viewed it.
You've never been
I've
outside.
never seen it.
Have you never been outside?
Never.
All right, let's.
Yeah.
Someone else that is actually.
How do you view it?
the Earth. Yeah. Well, if you've never been outside, then there's nothing that you have to offer to the conversation about the Earth. I mean, if you guys want
Have
to
you
continue
been
talking to
outside?
him, go ahead. But I think we should maybe see.
Have you been outside? You don't want to answer?
Your avatar shows you outside next to water.
Yeah. Okay. So it's. I mean, you guys can unmute him if you want to talk to him. It's like I don't want to stop you guys from having a conversation. But
I don't think he has much to offer.
okay, we have what? Sun 21 Gilbert has no rows. We have. Oh, straight line's been in here. We have a couple with no rows. I don't. Let's see. I want to go ahead and unmute straight line. Well, not straight line. It's Sun 21. Sun 21. Welcome to the server. Do you have any questions about the Earth? What brought you here, and what do you expect to? Like, why are you here? Sun 21. Okay, Gilbert, you're unmuted. Okay, well you can go back on mute then. So Woody 88. Welcome to the server. Octo Woody, you're unmuted. Welcome to the server. If you're not going to respond, I'm just going to put you back on mute. It's your last chance. Going once, going twice. Dude's never been outside. You know, I almost believe that. But do you want to continue with the lady night with MP Door or the dude that's never been outside?
Ladies, I'm going to call it a night. Thank you so much for allowing me to participate.
Yeah, thanks for being here. I think we can end ladies' night if everybody, unless anyone wants to continue with MP Door.